Good evening, chat. Hello. Sorry. Yeah, we had a flat tire on Sunday and didn't have a chance to get to it till today, so had to fix that. I think it's gonna hold. We'll find out in the morning if we'll find out if the patch takes, but we shall see. We shall see. So my apologies for running a couple minutes late, but I had to drive the car around the block, make sure everything was holding there. And by the way, 2.0 got this for me for technically for us for a birthday, but as a birthday gift, but it's one she can utilize too. The Fantic air compressor. And I will tell you, man, this thing is pretty fucking good. I was very impressed by it. Did I kill it? Because it's not turning on. Wait, why is this not turning on right now? Anyways, I will say this thing was very quick and it was very loud. So it was like, that was the only downside. It was a little loud there. So let me see if I can plug this in and see if that fixes the problem. No, it's on. Yeah, inflated the whole tire up to 35 psi and only took half the juice. So it's very good. Very good if you guys want to get one. It worked very, very, very well. And the screw-on attachment isn't problematic. It worked very, 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 very good. Jeremiah Maddox's YouTube chill out time range. Like, I should be like the cable guy. Yeah, sometime today between 8 and 8:30. Logical Bystander says, funny how late is the only running Sean does. I resemble that comment. I resemble that comment. I totally do. And that's fair. That's fair. Botto says, can we talk about Hard's motion dismiss? Friday. We got to spread it out, chat. We got to spread it out. We got to get to the end of the week. And I got a trial on Thursday, so we got to get to the end of the week here. Just let's get to it. But yes, I did read it, and buddy, child, Harden is not holding back in that. I thought it was very well done, very, very well done. I need to give him a call and tell him, like, some fat guy in Ohio really approves of your handiwork. But yes, it was very well put together. What's going to happen? Russell Greer's going to come in and go, I'm being read on you on the, give me one. And the judge's going to go, it's okay, Russell. You're just a tard. And he go, dating you are. And we're going to get more time out of it. So it's brilliant, but I don't know if it's going to be the killing blow that we hope it's going to be. Once again, I think it's Russell's going to put up the tard shield, and he's probably going to survive the attack. So Crystal says, good morning. Yeah, I forgot. It will be morning time over in your part of the world. It will be early. So you were hoping for 2.0. Well, suffer. Just like Destiny, you're going to have to suffer. So, yes, there is brand new Greer content. Yes, there is. Did I plug it? Yes, I did. I plugged the tire, not myself. Ran on a flat. Hope you didn't damage the rim. No, I plugged it and then I used the air compressor to pump it up, and took the tire off, plugged it, put it back on, and drove on. Drove around the block a couple of times. So, no, I wouldn't drive on the flat. Like in an emergency, I would, but otherwise, no. Let me see here. Are there quiet air compressors? No, but this was really like, it's like 8 o'clock, and I didn't want to drag the compressor I used for like the spray gun out there. But holy shit, it is loud at 8 o'clock at night when everybody's like lights are off. So, does it charge your phone? I think it will. Charge a phone. Make it for the lateness by showing Clyde. I will try to grab him. And we have a surprise coming up in a week or so. We got a neat surprise coming up at the end of the week. Your live stream is scheduled. Yes. Your Sean live stream is scheduled between the hours of 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. tomorrow. No, Jesus, that's so funny. That's so funny. That is so funny. But is it portable? The big one, no, but this little one, yeah, this little one is. Um, that's how big it is. Let me see. Is it actually turn on yet? Why the fuck won't it turn on? The hell happened? Hmm. Hmm. That's weird. It shows taking charge on the screen. As soon as I pulled it off, it's not lighting up. Hmm. I'll figure it out in a minute. Oh well. Oh well. Do they not have discount tire stores in Ohio? Why would I do that if I can just plug it? Like, you guys have never used a tire patch kit before? Why buy a new fucking tire? Like, they're all the same set. Like, they were all bought at the same time. So why would I not just patch it? And like, you guys never patched tires? I've patched like a million fucking. Like, I've done it a million times. I was in college. I patched a sidewall of my tire once, and it worked for another 6 months. Thank God it didn't blow out. But yeah, you can. Foley's asking about what's my analysis of the Ryan Routh conviction. We'll take a look at that on Thursday. But yes, it sounds rather hilarious that he tried to stab himself with a pen at the end. Destiny won't understand what I mean by a plug. Yeah, I'm sure he won't. Maddie says, hey, if you own a shop building custom cars, you need a one. I'm not sure which were. I patch what I can, but I don't patch sidewalls. Well, I was at college, and I was like, I drive around town. I can afford if the sidewall blows out when I'm driving down the street. And it did. It held up pretty much until the end of the year. And then I was looking at it, and I called my dad, and I'm like, I don't know if I should drive home on this. And he's like, well, what's wrong with it? I'm like, well, I patched the sidewall. And he's like, don't. And he's like, just go get a new tire. So I got a new tire. So American Tire does it for free 99. Why would I fucking waste it? I can do it right now. I can do it whenever I want to do it. So never patch a sidewall. Well, you can. You can. You just, how dangerous do you want to live? Would I take it down I-90? No. Would I drive around my college campus with it? Sure. It's a risk worth taking to save $100. So, yeah, I hate blue collar workers by doing this. Yeah, yes, by doing my own stuff, that shows my disdain. Anyways, welcome to the show, chat. My name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And you just heard these guys bust my balls for like 5 minutes. And real quick, Erica Thorpe gifted us 5 subs. And Crystal Pontac with 10 more subs. And that's time for a Clyde woo. Yes, chat. And we have another dog joining I accidentally clicked on that twice, but we have another dog joining the cast coming up. And it's not Louie, it's a brand new dog. You guys are going to like it. It's a very, very nice pupper. It's going to stay with us for like 2 weeks. And you guys are going to enjoy it. It's going to be a fun time. So that's the new surprise. Starting on Friday. Unforced Ego says for $20. Late, and dare I say, very fashionable and well-groomed. Yeah, I had to trim this up today. I was like, especially when I can like do this and you see them come down. I was like, I got to trim that up. I need to trim it up a little more, but I had to get that ready. John Coleman says for $5, Lindsay Gaetani, the lying whore in the Turtle Boy saga, is crashing out after yesterday's hearing. Yeah, I heard like everybody quit and all the prosecutors are gone. So it's like, suffer, bitch. I also messaged Turtle Boy on that. I told him, you are so fortunate that your enemies are so fucking stupid. And he is very fortunate. So I was talking to him. We'll be doing a show with him coming up here in a couple weeks. kind of got lost in the sauce in the summer on his side, my side too. So we'll work that out here coming up in the fall, especially as Turtle Boy's case heats up. And the mysterious Senor Hitler for $10 says, I'd love to see you break down the 90s country song Bubba Shot the Jukebox as both a prosecutor and defense attorney. The titular Bubba catches a reckless discharge of a gun because of a sad song. Yes. Well, it made him cry, so he went to his truck and got a 45. You know, he shot the jukebox, and he stopped it with one shot. You know, and the problem is that, you know, Bubba was kind of a dense one. And, you know, and he didn't run away, though, but he hung his head till the cops showed up. So, but, you know, he knew damn well what he was going to get charged with. So, but yeah, we can do that one day, maybe. Yes. And he hit where he was aiming. Yep. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Let's see. Having a dedicated sad song 45 is a flex. Yes. It is. Yes, it is. And unfortunately, I want to go back to this real quick. Thank you for the $20. But all right, let's get to it, chat. Destiny versus Pixie. Guys, this is a case about, it's not necessarily like in the context of revenge pornography, but it's the easiest way to describe it. So what happened? You guys remember Destiny? Destiny, because it's a girl's name. Destiny, the streamer, the YouTuber, the former Twitch person, Destiny, Stephen Kenneth Bennell the second. If you guys remember, famous for acting like a dickhead when Corey Comparator was murdered in the first Trump assassination attempt. God, it's weird when you phrase him like that. The first assassination attempt. And then this most recent, the assassination of Charlie Kirk and the murder of Charlie Kirk by the fucking communists that are running loose out there on the streets of Utah. Well, Destiny, you know, had you know, did what Destiny normally does and just cringe lords it up. And if you guys don't remember who Destiny is, this is Destiny. Just for, if you guys have seen him, you'll know what he looks like. And yes, he's allegedly the same guy who has eaten Nick Fuentes' goo, or maybe even Turkey Tom's goo. We're not really sure, but he has eaten another man's goo. So him and Aaron, I think they've got a lot in common there. But anyways, he is a political streamer. And yeah, he's a political streamer. He's very left-leaning. Yes, the Griper Goo enjoyer. Yes. So as he does things, Destiny has a history of being a bit of a sex pest. And he, you know, with these women in his orbit, you know, these women would trade, basically, you know, he'd be like, he'd befriend these women and like, you know, oh, hey, you know, and you can get into my orbit and you can have clout. And what do women, you know, it's like women do this, you know, they go in there, they want the clout and they want the opportunity. So Destiny and them start sexting, and Destiny has a lot of nudes and lewds. And Destiny shares them around. And this isn't the first time Destiny's had like scandalous issues in his past. It's happened a lot before, and Destiny survived them. And all the people in his orbit just go like, oh, that's just Steven. No worries about it. So it's not the first time it's happened. What happened in this time is in November, at the end of November, somebody came onto Kiwi Farms with the name Solo Tiny Leaks. And Tiny is the name you can use to make fun of Destiny because it's like Des Tiny. And they published a bunch of videos that Destiny had accumulated. And those were videos of a girl named Pixie. She goes by the name Pixie. And I know that Jay Stickles people were upset when I called these women, you know, BPD whores. But I mean, they're all a bunch of fucking lunatics. I mean, like, you see this guy like Destiny, you know the shit he fucking does, and like, oh yes, I'm gonna like fucking share nudes, and I can start like, because yeah, they really had like commentary quality, like the smartest fucking people in the world. Doesn't mean they deserved what happened to them. They don't. but let's not act like, it's fucking Victor Davis Hanson quality content we're getting out of him. By the way, very based Victor Davis Hanson. So what happened? Well, Pixie's shit got leaked of her and Destiny having sex. And Pixie didn't consent to that. And it's clear that from what we know, Destiny shared those videos with a person named Rose. And Pixie never gave permission for that. Now, Destiny's claiming she basically gave implied consent, and the way she did it, that it was. Is a good video? Not really, but you can definitely tell what it is. You can definitely tell what's going on. You can definitely, everybody's the two people are identifiable in it. Anyways, he sends his stuff on to Rose, and from Rose, her boyfriend or whoever the hell he is, it's still not 100% clear. It's a person named Solo, and Solo is the person, then likely came onto the farms that way. And that is where we kind of start the case. Now, Destiny's been charged with a couple different things. He's been charged with inflicting emotional distress. He's been charged with violating the Intimate Images Act, CARDI. And there's a federal law which gives people, as a course of action, the ability to sue for damages, and a couple other state law claims. But she's suing under a federal statute, which is why it's in federal court right now, the Southern District of Florida. Now, this is where things get interesting. This case has been going on since February. And what do we know now? Well, there were some issues about the date and the time that Destiny may have shared these images with Rose. Destiny's claiming it happened at one time that's outside of CARDI's purview. And Pixie's saying, no, it happened after CARDI's enactment date. And its effective date is October of 2022. And Destiny's claiming that he shared the pictures and information with Rose in April of 2022. And if CARDI is not retroactive from its date of enactment. So if that were the case and these were shared in April, Destiny avoids the federal right of action. And it kind of kills the case because, it doesn't automatically lose and you don't have to remove it out of federal court, but there's a strong implication it would, and there's a very strong implication, Destiny's going to win that. As this case has gone on, Pixie has sought to amend by including a person named Abby MC. And I know the really hardcore artists out there and the Destiny people are saying I'm missing a lot. I'm trying to give the basics to the normies out there. Abby claims that Destiny has shared it with her. And Destiny has had this shit stored on a Google Drive. Meaning it's always been accessible and God knows who has that access to it. But anybody Destiny's given permission to can go in there. And basically Destiny was kind of like, the fucking dragon sleeping on the pile of pornography and nude images and all this stuff. It's like a Gooner cave. It's a real Gooner cave for the goblin. When you think about it. When you think about it, that's what we're doing here. And Destiny has created this, and it's a cache. Much like I might cache weapons in various places around the state of Ohio. Destiny decides to cache all of his we don't know how many, but accumulated naked pictures and videos in one spot for people to peruse and go through. Now, Abby's disclosure that when Destiny showed Pixie stuff to Abby, was well after CARDI was enacted, so that would get them into it. Pixie sought to amend her complaint. Destiny opposed it. The court allowed Pixie to amend her complaint because it had kind of shored up the subject matter jurisdiction issues. In the meantime of all of this, we also learned a very, very, very unique issue that may be a problem for Destiny. Rose, back in 2022, may have been under the age of 18 at the time, which means Destiny shared nude images with a minor, which it's illegal. And also, from what we understand, Rose gave Destiny her own nudes, which would constitute under federal law in every other state child porn. Yes, CP, cheese pizza. However you might call it. We don't know for sure, but we have a lot of suspicions. We have a lot of evidence seems to confirm that. And yeah, I'm very, very confident that that's the case. And if it's not, yeah, it's hard saying it isn't what it looks like, but it is what it looks like. So those are kind of that's kind of the rough overall idea of the Destiny story. There was also, I forgot to mention, back in June, there was a hearing, an in-person hearing, where Pixie came in and testified. If you ask Destiny and his one of the GGers who was there in the courtroom, they seemed to thought it was a home run. And at the time, it kind of seemed like that, but kind of fizzled out because Destiny didn't file his motion to dismiss until now. And that's where we're going to start. Destiny's filing his motion to dismiss. And actually, before we get to that, we need to go through the docket just to show you guys some stuff that's been granted in the meantime. Because we ended right at Pixie getting her complaint amended. Topher Toke says he admitted it on stream, no question about it. I agree with you, but, who knows what, I'd like to say there's a good attorney can always make something out of nothing. He's got a lot of other problems, though, that make it clear he could be in a lot of trouble. So what we have here is and this is court listener chat. Like I said, if you don't want to pay for Pacer, you don't have to do that. This is the case. It's Doe v. Bonnell, because remember, Pixie has still protected her name. We know her as Pixie, and that's it. But she can't file as Pixie, so she files as Jane Doe versus Stephen Bonnell. It's in the Southern District of Florida. It was last updated September 23rd, and it was filed February 18th. So we're a good number of months into this. Now, there were a bunch of paperless orders that were granted. And ultimately, the amended complaint right here was filed. Because Pixie got the order granting the motion to file her amended complaint. Now, what happened from here? So there was an order allowing a couple different paperless orders, meaning it's only on the docket. So you'll only find this on Pacer as an electronic entry. And they are finding good cause allowed a plaintiff to file under seal unredacted versions of her motion for order to show cause. We already went over that, and there's a bunch of shit that's redacted. But under seal, an unredacted thing is out there because Destiny has the right to respond and see it. But now that it's under seal, in addition, Destiny can't publish that on the court record. But additionally, there are protective orders where he's not going to be allowed to run around and talk about all this. There was another order, a motion to leave file redacted evidence. So she filed under seal unredacted evidence. There was another motion to file under seal, allowing her to file more declarations that were unredacted. There was another motion to file under seal unredacted versions of a proposed order. A lot of stuff here. Now, there's stuff that we don't know what this is, and I don't know if people have commented on this too much, but there are two of these where it says docket entry, restricted and sealed until further notice, restricted, sealed until further notice. We don't know what those are. We don't know what those are right now. We don't know what they're doing. Now there was a Pixie also filed she responded to the motion to show the order to show cause. We're not going to get into this, but they are requesting for contempt and sanctions and injunctive relief. They're not going to get contempt. They're not going to get sanctions. They're not going to get injunctive relief. So, I mean, they're kind of just trying real hard there. There's an order. We don't know what that is. There's more restricted until further notice. More restricted until further notice. And then a 17 attachment thing. And this is what we're going to go over tonight, the motion to dismiss filed by Destiny for lack of jurisdiction. He also, there's an unopposed motion to file an audio exhibit. And the court says that, upon consideration, Destiny can submit the audio exhibit courtesy of a USB drive. So that's where we are. Not a whole lot's happened except for this, past this point. But this is where we are. September 19th, the motion to dismiss. Now, did I explain that well enough for you guys? If you guys are new, has it made sense to you? If it doesn't make sense, let's get it. We got to catch up now. Was it secretly recorded? I don't know what the recording is, but the way you do that when you submit a recording, the other side gets to know what it is. So they've already given it to Pixie and they didn't object. It's unopposed. So presumably it's not anything Pixie's worried about. Will this be on the test? Yes. And Lou says that was fine. Good. I'm glad you guys were there. I'm glad we're all set up. So what has happened? So Destiny comes in, and this isn't going to be like the Stuttering John case where I'm going to laugh at the attorney. They might make bad arguments, but they're factually rooted. Like they're doing the best they can with what they have. Now, what does all this mean ultimately? This is going to fail. Pixie has been able to shore up the subject matter jurisdiction issue. And at the end of the day, I don't see the court, the court's going to look at, everything favorable to the non-moving party. And for now, this is going to go to discovery. And I think that's Destiny's biggest fear is going to discovery because everything is fair game. To quote the great Ethan Ralph, it's fair game. So it's the Southern District of Florida. Remember, we're suing under federal law, so we're in federal court. So it's Jane Doe versus Stephen K. Bonnell II. And this is a motion to dismiss for lack of subject matter jurisdiction pursuant to Rule 12b-1. And I know you guys might laugh at this and say, oh, it's like Darrell Brooks is saying subject matter jurisdiction. Yes. For sovereign citizens, yeah, this is hilarious. But for regular people in regular cases, sometimes you do object on subject matter jurisdiction. This isn't the right, there's no jurisdiction for this court. Like the law doesn't allow for this. There's no subject matter jurisdiction for the court to hear this. That's not uncommon. It does happen at times. It does happen. So don't, that's not where I'm going to laugh at them for this. I'm not going to laugh at them for this. Publius Rising says, does this work? Yes. Oh, Publius Risingus. Yes. Well, Darrell Brooks objected on everything, but he objected on subject matter jurisdiction grounds, and we routinely see Zero Fucks, and you know this, sovereign citizens routinely attack subject matter jurisdiction of a court. And that's something we routinely see. So you guys have been primed, I think, and not you, because you guys are savvy and smart, but a lot of people are primed when they hear the phrase subject matter jurisdiction. They laugh because that's what they only hear lunatics arguing. They only hear the lunatics going for it. And we're not dealing with lunatics. We're dealing with smart people. This is a valid argument. This is the argument I would make if I was Destiny's attorney. And yes, Luke is bringing up a good point. In civil matters, this is actually an issue. In criminal matters, is pretty much understood. Yeah. Yep. I agree. And ultimately, guys, that's because, there's a lot of times the law doesn't apply. It's not the law doesn't apply to the situation. The court can't do it. And like I said, I just don't want you guys to make fun of them for this because this is a fair argument to make. And it's savvy and smart. I've ever read chat, yes. And that's just because, once again, you're challenging the legal authority for things. And a great example is, let's say we're bankruptcy court. If you're in bankruptcy court, you can only hear bankruptcy cases. Okay, so if you try to sue for anything else in bankruptcy court, you'd say the bankruptcy court has no subject matter jurisdiction. Or, for example, if you're in small claims court and you're suing for like $1 million, small claims court does not have jurisdiction over a claim of $1 million. It has a claim of like over like $3,000-4,000 maybe, sometimes a little bit higher, but it's going to be small. So if you sue for $1 million, you're going to have to go to a court of general pleading or a federal court for that. Yes, $1 million. Okay, yes, inflation's getting us there. Anyways, we're going to keep moving here. So this is Destiny's attorneys out of Florida, Robert Raskoff, Patricia Patino. They are his Florida attorneys. And then down here, he has Andrew Bretler, which, yes, Andrew Bretler is a high-powered LA attorney working out of West Hollywood. And he's got another guy, Jake Kamara. These guys are pro-hawked in. Notice they've been admitted pro-hawk vice. So he's definitely got good legal team working for him. And we get to the introduction. I think that, I will say, stylization wise, this looks so fucking weird. Like it should be right here in the middle. But that's just a style issue. It's a style issue, chat. And it says, as Stephen Bennell, professionally known as Destiny, it's a girl's name, has consistently maintained from the outset of this case, the court lacks subject matter jurisdiction. And they say the plaintiff's amended complaint does nothing to cure that fatal defect. I don't know about that. For that reason, in the court's granting to leave the motion for leave to file an amended complaint, Judge Torres invited Bennell to file the instant motion and dismiss, pursuant to Rule 12b(1) of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. Now, here's where, like, when you look at that, the judge isn't inviting it like he's saying, I know this case is bullshit, go ahead and file it. That's not what was done there. That's not how that was done, and I think that's a bit of bullshit there. And we're going to look at this leave to file, the court granting the order, because it does, we need to address this matter. We need to address this problem here. Okay. And then ultimately, hold on here. Where is, I forget where it's, I had it up and I moved it. Yes. This is right here at the end. And we're going to parse this a little bit. And it says, should the defendant believe after the filing of the complaint that this court does not have jurisdiction, the defendant is free to file a 12b(1) motion or otherwise generally respond to plaintiff's briefing arguing as much. That's not an invitation saying, bro, I think their case is bad. And like, if you do this, it's going to help. That's not what they're getting at. The court is merely just pointing out, listen, if you keep on banging the drum every 5 minutes, every responsive pleading has been about subject matter jurisdiction. Yet, you know what Destiny hasn't done in 7 months? Filed a fucking motion to dismiss. Not at any point has he filed a real motion to dismiss. So this idea that this is a invitation or this is the court tipping their hand, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. That's not what this is. This is just the court saying, look, you keep on fucking talking about it. If you're going to do it, now's the time to do it. If you're going to do it at all, or shut the fuck up. So that's all we're talking about here. And the court is just pointing out that based on its interpretation of things with the amended complaint, it's a new complaint now, because remember, the amended complaint supersedes the first complaint and consumes it. So if you leave something, when you have your first complaint and your amended complaint, they completely overlap each other. There is no like parts left over. It's completely consumed. So if you have a part of your complaint that you leave, you don't get to turn around and say, well, because I didn't, my amended complaint doesn't absorb it, it stands. No, the first complaint dies when the amended complaint is filed. And let's say there's a second amended complaint. It would consume the first amended complaint, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. In civil settings, that's how it's done. Yes, in Colorado and criminal, yeah, but we're not doing the criminal case. So it's something to think about here. But this is not the court saying, like, Destiny, bro, you got this. Just come on, man, file it. No, the court's not saying that. Court's not saying that. But I understand if I'm Brettler, I'm making the argument of, no, the judge is like, we're so horny. Come on, show us your dick already. Inviting us to file it. Yeah, I don't, don't think so. In count 1 of the amended complaint, the violations under 15 U.S.C. 6851 Cardi provide the sole basis for federal question jurisdiction, which is true. They say, yet count 1 fails as a matter of law. They say evidence is inconsistent with the allegations in the amended complaint, conclusively established that Bonnell transmitted the video depicting plaintiff on just one occasion to an individual who was under the age of 18, who used the screen name Rose in April of 2022. I think that's incorrect too. I think there was some fuckery going on with the dates, because Destiny is claiming, well, Destiny had made the claim and people were claiming that Rose was in Europe and her dates showed European time format, which would be the 10th. It would say in Europe, their date system is, they would say in Europe, they would say, if you're trying to show today's date, it would be the 23rd of September 2025. Whereas in America, we say September 23rd, 2025. Now, yes, in Europe, this is how they do it. The problem is, Rose lives in Illinois, and we know for a fact she lives in Illinois. Like, she got found. The farms found her. So this argument is what Destiny's trying to rely on. Because in Destiny's argument, he's trying to make the claim that what you see on the timestamps is not October 4th of 2022, but actually the 10th of April. He's claiming this is he's saying it's April 10th. That's his argument. That's his argument here. One of the arguments. It's like, you're like, but wait, then how old is Rose? And you're like, shh, you think too much. You're talking too much. Talking too much, bro. But that's the big argument for this Cardi complaint and how Destiny plans to survive it. Let me gotta fix that. There we go. Pretty close. And it says the sole transmission of the video preceded the effective date of the Cardi statute by nearly 6 months. And it did. It, based on Destiny's argument, that is correct. That is correct. But I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. What are you saying, Lamau? What? You're joking? No, it's 100% true. True. Mr. Warlight says the motion dismisses a strategy to trivialize the case. Whether it succeeds or not, it helps Destiny set a narrative in general. Well, yes, in a sense, when you're dealing with the court, you want to control, even though there's the law and there's the facts, despite what some out there may tell you, it's not just taking the law and beating the other side over the head with the law and the facts. There's a lot more to it. There's strategy. There's, cunning and guile involved. There's controlling a narrative. If the judge thinks you're the good guy, if he thinks you're the bad guy, if he thinks who's got a prevailing argument, if you can convince him it's about X instead of Y pre-trial, you can use all those things to shape the battlefield in your favor. So yes, Destiny is doing that. He's also trying to shape the battlefield in popular opinion. That's not going so well. He's kind of a lost cause there. But he is trying to shape the narrative dealing with the case, but I don't think it's going to help him too much. but he's trying it. Lucky Lime says no fucking way. Yeah, well, Yahweh. Yes, we're gonna cover the golf course guy on Thursday. We'll get to it. And they say because the statute's not retroactive, and that's true. The court lacks subject matter jurisdiction. So now, what do we know here? Conceding that conceding that Bonnell's sole transmission of the video to Rose could not serve as the basis. Pixie amended her complaint on September 5th. She wasn't conceding that; she's shoring it up, making it stronger. Because I don't agree with Destiny's argument that it was April 10th. It was definitely October 4th because Rose lives in America. Why would she show the date wrong? She wouldn't. And they say that they did add an allegation that Destiny transmitted the video to an individual who used a screen name Abby MC sometime, quote unquote, after March 2023, which gets it covered by Cardi. And they say the new allegations pertaining to an alleged transmission is not consistent with the evidence. In fact, the evidence demonstrates the opposite. Bonnell did not transmit the video at any time. Now, the new allegations rely exclusively on a declaration and exhibit purportedly from Abby MC. You can fucking depose her for this stuff. But yes, that's how this works. That's how this works. You file a complaint. Somebody did something to me and I demand legal recourse. Yes, that's how this works. It only takes one piece of evidence to sustain a case. It really only does. Now, you all want to have as much as you can. But this idea that they only have, they have multiple pieces of evidence. So yes, Abby is one piece of the puzzle. And guys, like I said, I'm picking this apart. But Brettler is making the arguments he has to make. These are the arguments you have to make because you got no other choice. They say, and that Pixie filed it with the court on the day before the June 3rd evidentiary hearing on the motion for a preliminary injunction. Which, if you guys remember, I told you, Pixie's attorneys did that really fucking stupid. They waited a whole month after the case started to file the injunction motion. You file for a TRO right at the beginning. You don't fuck around with that. There is no time to waste when it comes to that stuff. If you think you need the TRO, you go right away when you file your complaint. Never wait like this unless something happened. But in this case, nothing new had happened. Pixie even basically admitted her filings. It was all the same stuff that happened from before, which probably would have gotten her a TRO right off the bat. But they didn't do it. And they point out a month after that motion was fully briefed. And their argument there is we kind of got the wool pulled over our eyes and sandbagged. And they say Pixie's reply papers were due on May 2nd. Plaintiff filed the Abby MC declaration without the June 2nd exhibit on May 3rd, which was a day late. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get anywhere with that. So, Pixie contends the Abby declaration establishes Destiny transmitted the video to Abby in 2023, but her declaration does no such thing. Plaintiff, whose attorneys represent Abby, could have submitted proof from Abby of any such transmission from Destiny, yet she has not done so. Her declaration is proof. The declaration is proof. A sworn declaration is, I saw something happen. That's evidence. That's proof. And they're saying it for good reason because the evidence demonstrates transmission never occurred. Okay. They say plaintiff has been on notice of the jurisdictional challenge since he filed his answer and affirmative defenses on March 14th. Bonnell repeated the challenge in his opposition to the motion for preliminary injunction. Once again, you're not repeating the challenge. If you had the balls, you would file that Rule 12 motion right the fuck away. But they didn't. They just kept on bringing it up and talking shit. And they say for more than 6 months, Pixie has the opportunity to demonstrate through admissible evidence that Destiny actually transmitted the video to Abby. Abby's testimony is enough. I mean, let's be real. Or to anyone else after the effective date. She has failed to do so, yet makes allegations in her complaint that are wholly inconsistent. Indeed, Pixie failed to produce her star witness to testify at the June 3rd hearing, depriving Destiny of the opportunity to cross-examine her and test her contentions in the declaration. They didn't bring any of that up at the time, I'm betting, which is a problem for them. They say worse, for more than 4 months, Abby has dodged and evaded service of a valid subpoena. Are we really sure about that? According to Abby MC, plaintiff's counsel, who is also her attorney, advised her to continue to evade service and just submit evidence anyway. Well, if they really did do that, they're fucked. But also, according to Abby MC, like, well, then if you know where she is, you can subpoena her. I mean, this is yeah. Just like I said, even Destiny realizes this isn't going to go well. They're probably not going to win. And it says the plaintiff cannot submit any evidence establishing that Destiny transmitted the date. In fact, to date, Pixie has submitted no evidence apart from Abby's unsworn statement to demonstrate that Destiny transmitted the video. And then Destiny, on the other hand, has conclusively established no such transmission occurred. Yes, because we trust his fucking logs. We totally trust the logs that he didn't doctor or have access to doctoring. Totally do. Now, we're going to go through this just real quick, guys. So on April 3rd, Pixie filed for the TRO and preliminary injunction against Destiny. Notice this is filed. The case was filed February 13th. Look how much later she does this. Look how much later April 3rd. Like, this is a long time after this. You can't fuck around. If you're going to file TRO, yeah. And they say, among other arguments, they opposed Pixie's motion on the grounds the court lacks subject matter jurisdiction over this action. You can always file a Rule 12b. That's not the proper vehicle to do it. Specifically, Destiny established his sole transmission occurred in April 2022, 6 months prior to Cardi's effective date. No, you didn't. You didn't. You didn't. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. And hold on here. Where is... And they say on April 29th, counsel for Destiny received a letter from Pixie's attorney, Carlos A. Garcia Perez, indicating he and his law firm represented Abby MC, specifically pertaining to Destiny. Just 3 days later, on May 2nd, they filed her reply brief in support of the injunction. A day after her reply papers were due, they filed a declaration reportedly from her along with exhibits. Now, they say on May 14th, counsel for Destiny emailed Pixie's attorneys to inquire whether they would accept service of a subpoena on behalf of their client, Abby. Having received no response on May 16th, Destiny's attorneys provided them a notice of issuance of subpoena and a copy of the subpoena Destiny issued to Abby on May 15th. Thereafter, Destiny's counsel arranged for a process server to serve the subpoena personally on Abby at a variety of publicly available addresses. Despite multiple attempts to serve Abby with the subpoena, but Nell was unable to serve her. Now, this is where you come into court. If this is happening, you come into court and say, Your Honor, they're not helping us serve the subpoena. If this really happened, you should be bringing this up to the court. And not months and months later, but at the time, Your Honor, these people are hiding and ducking us. You don't wait 5 months. You bring it up right away. Motion for sanctions. Motions that, like anything you want, a protective order, motion to compel. But more importantly, I'd say sanctions, because now you're sanctioning the plaintiff. If they're engaging in bad faith, you could punish them. Why didn't you? I don't think it happened exactly how it's being stated here. So, they say in June, plaintiff belatedly filed her motion. What is this, chat? Hold on here. What is this? Hmm. Okay. So plaintiffs sought to submit new purported evidence to bolster the Abby declaration, namely November 3rd text message that Abby supposedly sent to an unknown person stating, I have videos of him being Destiny fucking Cherry, one of the other orbiting hoes, and Pixie, like LMFAO, and as the governor of Utah can help us, LMFAO.
You are gay, LMAO.
LMFAO, he just sent me like another one, haven't opened it. Yeah, that's evidence. That's how evidence works. You can now contest it. Plaintiff contends that this text message directly corroborates the testimony of Abby. On June 3rd, the court held a hearing for the injunction. Despite that counsel for Abby, the plaintiff also referenced Abby, and despite that plaintiff relies on Abby's critical testimony, plaintiff failed to produce Abby to testify at the hearing. Well, did you bring that up? Did you address that? I mean, we're now just getting to this motion to dismiss. Like, we're just now bringing up that we don't get to cross-examine this person. I'm just saying, like, this is the one thing I maybe, like, this is where I'm not saying, like, this isn't Stuttering John's attorneys, and this isn't Frank White. I'm assuming Bretler and Raskoff and this whole team had a tactical consideration or strategic consideration they were doing, that they waited, and I'm sure they were playing the long game on this. But to me, this is too long to play that game. Like, you know, that those cards grow stale if you don't play them soon enough. I don't know why you would hold on to this if you think you had a heater of a hand. Like, if this stuff all happened, why not immediately after this hearing fucking just skadoosh your fucking motion, just drop it in like a JDAM? I just don't understand why you wouldn't do that. Now, once again, they may have they have some considerations they're doing, but I think they should have at least got the road going there, because you don't just get one bite at a motion to dismiss for subject matter jurisdiction. You can raise a challenge to subject matter jurisdiction at any time. The court on its own, sua sponte, of its own accord, could come down and say, hey, wait, I can't handle this case anymore. Get the fuck out of my courtroom. But they didn't do any of that. And I think that they gave that away. I think they gave this away, and I don't know why. It sounds like an oi. No. So it sounds like some screwdriver would sing. Yeah, well, no. Accordingly, Destiny had no opportunity to cross-examine Abby or otherwise test the statements in her declaration. Well, and if you try to subpoena her and she's not available, it's where you come to the court and say, Your Honor, somebody's ducking a subpoena. We don't have the chance to challenge this. This is bullshit. Help us, Your Honor. Your Honor, they're making us suffer. Help us. Help. You know, you're allowed to do that. If the one party's screwing around with you, you're allowed to go running up to the judge screaming like a black woman, like, help me. Oh, Lord, help me. Like, you're allowed to do that. And they didn't do that yet. They say in June, the attorneys for Destiny participated in a meet and confer with Pixie's counsel, Joan Peters. During the conference, Destiny's lawyer explained to Joan the difficulties they encountered in trying to serve her client with the subpoena. Destiny's attorneys again inquired whether she and her co-counsel still represented Abby and whether they're authorized to accept service. Peters indicated she would speak with her client and revert. Having received no response, counsel for Destiny emailed them a further inquiry on July 7th. On July 8th, Peters said she and her co-counsel were not authorized to accept service subpoena for Abby. Accordingly, counsel requested Abby's current contact information. To date, neither Peters nor her counsel have responded to that request. So, notwithstanding Destiny's inability to serve Abby, and notwithstanding that Ms. Peters and her co-counsel continue to refuse to accept services subpoena on their client's behalf, Abby has been well aware of the subpoena and the efforts to serve her. Has she? How do you know? And they say, Abby, well, she posted about subpoena on her public account on the social media platform. Knowing the subpoena had some random address on it and she had not yet been served. Yeah. Well, Destiny, I mean, just like with Rose, maybe if you asked the farms or taunted the farms would find out who she is and dox her for you. But remember, that's already happened for Rose, so there you go. There you go. Abby has continued to comment online elsewhere about her knowledge of the subpoena and suggested in at least one live-streamed interview that her attorneys advise her to continue to evade service of process and continue to submit evidence. Specifically under about, and if you did, then why are you not filing for sanctions? That is sanctionable conduct. Move for fucking sanctions, homie. Move fucking strong if you're like that. This is the part where I'm a little like Andrew Brettler and these guys that Destiny has hired are not some fucking softies. Like, these guys are swinging dicks. If this is happening, you move for goddamn sanctions on people. You make it rain fire. You fucking go after people. This is such horseshit. This is such horseshit. Gus saying, I bet Abby is a different attorney. If Pixie's attorneys know that, they have an obligation to let Destiny's attorney know, I would argue. But either way, this fucking around right here, if you know this, why are you not making a move? Make that move, man. And they say, on or about September 8th, Abby participated in a live stream with a streamer known as Darius IRL. Among other things, Abby stated during the live stream, I'm currently being subpoenaed by Destiny. I have seen the subpoena paperwork from my lawyers, but he has not been able to officially serve me. He said, because he sent copies of it first, their lawyers send my lawyers the information. So see, it sounds like she does have a different lawyer, but they didn't ask, like, well, who are the people? They say in response to a question about what her attorneys advise her to do, Abby explained they advise her to avoid it and avoid Destiny, avoid everything, and keep submitting evidence. So, this is almost like a point here. They understand that they can't, and this is, I think, remember, chat, it's what's not being said that tells you a lot about what's going on. Destiny's attorneys are not seeking sanctions against Pixie's attorneys because they realize Pixie's attorneys aren't the ones representing Abby anymore. And they have trouble getting a hold of Abby, and it's not their problem anymore. So this is part of the issue here. Like I said, to me, this tells me why they're doing what they're doing. And I know if anybody out there who's commented on this or read this already, if you guys have drawn that link, I understand it's not exactly like rocket science, but I'm just getting to it now. But this tells me that they have a problem here and they're not ready for it. This tells me this is a problem. That they know Pixie's attorneys aren't involved anymore, but they don't know how to get a hold of Pixie's attorneys. I mean, Abby's attorneys. They don't know how to get a hold of them. Now, somebody here asked a good question. Jefferson Post says, how bad would it be for an attorney to say avoid service? Really bad. Especially if you're an attorney on a case and you're telling somebody to avoid service. But otherwise, like if you're just like, if you came to me and said, hey man, somebody's trying to serve me a subpoena, what do I do? I'm like, well, just don't answer the door. You don't have to. Like, if you're not home, you're not home. Like, you don't, like, I would tell people if you know it's a valid court order, you should probably accept it. But I mean, like, technically, like, if you keep, like, if you don't have to answer the door to people you don't know. And that's the thing, a process server, like, is just a guy in regular clothes knocking on the door. He's not like a sheriff's deputy. So, I mean, like, yeah. I mean, that's kind of how I'd argue it. So, I hope that makes sense. If like you're on the case, yeah, you don't want to do that. How does an attorney avoid service when they have to show up in court? You don't. And you really can only be served on behalf of your client. So, but like, yeah, I've been to court before and somebody like, the opposing counsel serves me. Because I'm representing my client in a suit. I'm representing my client on subject matter A and they're suing for case B. That's happened before. Sweet Tooth Fairy saying if Pixie never replies, you mean Abby never replies. Can they make a judgment against her? Well, Abby MC is not being sued. Remember, this is about Abby. But the Destiny's claiming Pixie's attorneys know where Abby is. They're not helping. So they talk about the legal standard. And Rule 12b1 and chat, we've gone through this before, but these are Rule 12, defenses and objections and how they're presented. And we're down here to Rule B12, 12b, how to present defenses. And these are all the different 12b defenses you can raise. And we've gone through all these before, including our favorite one we see all the time, 12b6. Failure to state a claim upon which relief can be granted, meaning that's really nice, your story's sad, but the law doesn't help you. Insufficient process of service, insufficient process, improper venue saying, you know, this is not the right court. Instead of the Southern District of Florida, this should be in the Western District of California, or I'm sorry, it'd be the Central District of California, or the Western District of New York, or the Eastern District of Virginia, or the Southern District of Ohio. But Florida is not the proper one. Failure to join a party necessary under Rule 19 if there are multiple parties. So, for example, guys, in the Karen Reed case, Karen Reed's being sued, and the one bar, Waterfall's being sued. But if the other bar, C.F. McCarthy's, wasn't involved, they would have the right to say you failed to join another party because you could blame the other bar for Karen Reed being served too much alcohol. There's a lack of personal jurisdiction. We talked about how you get that before, minimal contacts with the area. And Destiny lives in the Southern District of Florida, so he's got personal jurisdiction. And then ultimately, number one, lack of subject matter jurisdiction. This is where we are. This is the one they're going for. Let's see here. Leave that. All right. So, oh, crap. I canceled it out all the way. That's annoying. That was stupid. All right, here we go. Let's keep moving, chat. It says Rule 12b1 authorizes dismissal where the courts lack subject matter jurisdiction. The jurisdictional challenges may be facial or factual. A facial attack on subject matter jurisdiction accepts the allegations in the complaint as true and tests only their sufficiency. A factual attack, by contrast, challenges the existence of subject matter jurisdiction, irrespective of the pleadings, and permits a court to weigh evidence outside the complaint, including affidavits and testimony. And here's the big part when you challenge this. In a factual attack, there is no presumptive truthfulness attached to the plaintiff's allegations, meaning you don't have to believe everything. When we go to Rule 12b6, guys, remember, Rule 12b6. On Rule 12b6, right here, you have to presume everything Pixie's saying is true. Does it still meet the claims? And it would. You would assume everything Pixie said is true. Then yes, this survives dismissal. You don't have to do that here. You don't have to do that here. The court may resolve the disputed facts. The court can make determinations. And I think for Destiny, this is not going to go in his favor because the court's going to say, I don't fucking believe the date shit you're calling. And remember, guys, this is just Destiny's. Pixie gets a chance to respond, and there'll be additional briefing on this. So they say, they cite that, and they go back, and they say, a district court may consider matters outside the pleadings on a factual attack, and that dismissal, not necessarily summary judgment, is the proper procedure when jurisdiction is lacking. And that's correct. And they say, when a party challenges subject matter jurisdiction, the court's given the authority to resolve disputes, along with the discretion to devise a method for making a determination with regard to the jurisdictional issue. And this is true. The burden rests with Pixie to establish subject matter jurisdiction. And they point out that once a federal court determines it's lacking, the court is powerless to continue. And that's true. Once it's done, it's done. And now they point out that Destiny's sole transmission of the video fails to establish the subject matter jurisdiction. So they point out that this all arises under the Carty statute. And they say Carty took effect on October 1st, 2022. Remember, chat, we talked about this. October 1st. And it only provides remedies for conduct occurring only as of the effective date of the statute. And there's no retroactive effect. No legislative intent for retroactive application. And they say federal district courts have held that CARDI cannot be applied retroactively to conduct predating the statute. Now, this is in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. Is that persuasive? No, if it's persuasive, it's not binding. And they sought here, and they take a case. In KT, the plaintiff sought to amend her complaint to add a claim under CARDI for conduct occurring in March and April 2022. In opposition, the defendant asserted that CARDI did not go into effect until October. Yeah, but Pixie's not doing that. She introduced shit afterwards. And says the court applied a holding and denied the motion for leave, expressly holding that there's no clear intent to apply the statute retroactively. And once again, though, notice this is a very different fact pattern than what Pixie has. Very different. Very, very different. They cite a bunch of different cases here. And then there's one case here, this one I saw earlier. They sent the text messages 3 days before the effective date. Oof. 3 days, chat. 3 days. It's rough. And they say Destiny's transmission of the video preceded the effective date by nearly 6 months. And they say on the face of the first amended complaint, Pixie has not alleged that Destiny transmitted the video to Rose after CARDI went into effect. Instead, Pixie retreats to ambiguity. She alleges only the video was sent sometime in 2022, accompanied by a footnote stating it cannot be conclusively determined whether the transmission to Rose occurred after October 1st. Well, I think it's clear it can be. But right now we have a factual dispute. Pixie's contentions are demonstrably false. The record, including leaked Discord communications, which have been long available to plaintiff, conclusively established the video was transmitted in April, nearly 6 months before CARDI took effect. The evidence shows that Rose's side of her communications with Destiny was accessed and leaked by a third party with the screen name Solo Tiny Leaks, who, being located in Europe, downloaded the messages with such timestamps that reflect in the standard European format of day, month, year. And this is the interesting thing. We're now getting to Solo Tiny Leaks being located in Europe. I don't think that's been conclusively proven. And they say accordingly, now we're making an excuse for this. Now we're making an excuse for how this comes in. And I kind of feel like we're retconning in facts here. I feel like we're retconning in some facts. Accordingly, the following leaked screenshot from Rose's correspondence with Destiny reflects he transmitted the video to her on 10/4/2022 or April 10th, 2022 at 1:36 a.m. I mean, are we sure? Are we really sure about that? Are we really sure? You guys are saying Solo Tiny Leaks. I know, I told you this guy's name. I don't think that's correct. I don't think that's correct. Lou says, I think you're wrong on the date. I don't think Pixie is providing any evidence of the date being October. Seems pretty clear to be your timestamp. I don't know, though. I don't know if it has. Indeed, a simple comparison of Rose's leaked screenshot to Destiny's side of the same communication, which was not leaked, conclusively establishes the video was transmitted on April 9th at 8:36 p.m. Also, April 10th, 2022 at 1:36 a.m. in Europe. And how do we know this is like that? Yeah, I don't know if I believe this. I don't know if I believe this. There's an attach that confirms it, and it doesn't confirm it. We're gonna get to Lou. Oh. Pump brakes. It's not conclusive. Like, they didn't get a forensic person in here to prove it. They're offering their argument why it is. That doesn't mean it is what it is. They've offered a lot of information. None of it's conclusive or confirms it. I'm just saying, like, yeah, he could be right, theoretically, sure. But to say he's proven this beyond a reasonable doubt, it's like, yeah, I don't know about that. So the additionally correspondence between Rose and Destiny further confirms that Rose's communication displayed in the European date format. After Destiny transmitted the video, the two continued to communicate in Discord, and those were publicly posted by Solo Tiny Leaks. And they say, for example, Destiny texted Rose, just streaming, and that communication is date stamped 4/14/2022. That date timestamp can only be read as April 14th, and sure, it could be. And it says, the evidence thus confirms, and the plaintiff cannot dispute. That's screenshots from the fucking guy, screenshots from somebody who hacked and leaked information. Yes, they must be true because they're true. Because it's true. And that Destiny transmitted the video to Rose on a single occasion nearly 6 months before Cardi took effect. Because the date precedes the effective date of the statute, that transmission provides no basis for subject matter jurisdiction. And they say I was curious to see this argument, because this is one where I think that, yeah, this is an interesting argument, but is it going to hold? And we'll see. Plaintiff's theory of continuous ongoing discourse fails as a matter of law. Now, this is where they argue about Rose supposedly having occurred through a Google Drive link. It contends without factual support that the transmission constitutes an ongoing dissemination or continuous ongoing disclosure of the video. They say that this theory is contradicted by the evidence in any event, fails as a matter of law. As an initial matter, and the neat thing is, this is all stuff that Destiny had right off the bat, and they fucking sat on this for months. Why are we waiting till now? As an initial matter, there's no evidence Destiny ever transmitted the video to Rose or anyone else via Google Drive. Indeed, the leaked screenshot of the transmission itself confirms that Destiny sent the video to Rose in a private Discord chat via a Discord media file, not via a Google Drive link. A screenshot of Destiny's transmission of the video to Rose depicts a black square representing a media file, not a Google hyperlink. Indeed, as evident from the November 29th leak, the original file name of the video appears as blah, 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 .mp4, confirming the file was transferred directly through Discord as an attached MP4 file and not transmitted via a Google Drive link. I mean, well, Lucky Limes, you're saying so he did it, amazing lawyering. Yeah, this isn't a bad argument. They're saying, look, I did it all. The law doesn't cover what I did. That's not a bad argument to make. Sure, I robbed the bank, but I robbed the bank 8 years ago, and the statute of limitations was up 6 years ago. So therefore, you guys can't come after me. Like, you're allowed to make that argument. You're allowed to admit to the conduct and say, look, it doesn't matter because it's before the law went into effect. You can do that. You can do that here. And that's his. Oh, the Google Drive code? Well, Stacy says only 2 years for bank robbery. I mean, it all depends. In Ohio, it's going to be 6 years for a felony like that. But Lucky Lime's saying, wait, what? Well, he's saying that, yes, he transmitted it on his own, but he didn't use a Google Drive link. So therefore, they're also going to make an argument that the ongoing thing is preposterous. He would have to keep, it doesn't count as an ongoing dissemination. But I would argue if you're giving people access to it, it's an ongoing thing because they could keep re-downloading it. But yes, he's admitting it at that point. And Afix saying the longer they wait, the higher the chance the source data is lost. That's probably the play. I could see that, I guess I could see that. Lucky Lime saying, so like I said, I don't think, if you can make the argument, you make the argument. Nico says, therefore, he just said porn, no minor. Well, it's not 100%, like I said, I don't know if it's been concluded that way, but once again, I don't know if Bretler realizes that his client has now admitted to possibly sending nude videos and pandered obscenities to a minor. I don't know if that's been discussed with him yet. I'm sure Bretler's just dealing with the problem in front of him. Maybe they were waiting because they knew Pixie was going to amend, let her get everything out there. Yeah, but if you know it's going to be bullshit, just fucking attack. Like, if you know it's bullshit, you go now. You don't wait. Because it doesn't change your case. I get what you're saying. Let her throw out all her cards. Well, you know what? Like, I get that. But instead, if you can win in round one, win in round one. Go for the first round knockout if you can do it. Don't let it drag on to like round 4, 5, 6. So. And Jefferson, we're going to get to your thing here. We're going to get to your thing here. And they say, critically, even if the video had been shared by a Google Drive link, the legal theory fails as a matter of law. Courts have rejected the proposition that privately shared unindexed cloud links amount to public or continuous dissemination. Now, I would agree it's not a public dissemination, but if you give me a link to something, you're constantly letting me go back to it all the time. It's a private dissemination, and that's not allowed. The district court considered whether material transmitted via Google Drive to a third party would constitute an ongoing transmission of material to the public. As here, Ray asserted the Google Drive was configured so it was viewable by anyone with a link and did not require a password. And they say in rejecting the assertion, and guys, remember, this is an issue of technology, and remember, the law catches up to technology, and that's a good thing. You don't want it to be ahead of technology. Even assuming the link was public and theoretically accessible to anyone, there are no facts to suggest the link was in fact widely disseminated or placed in a location where anyone could access it. Well, see, here's the thing. A bunch of these declarations say they have seen these videos with Pixie. It's not just Abby and it's not just Rose. It's multiple women saw it. So what does widely disseminated mean? And then how many people have had access to these links? But this, I don't necessarily agree with this. And then said emailing a public link to a shared drive to a single person is unlike publicizing information in a regional magazine or a newspaper. And see, I don't think the court's looking at that right. Because if this was a criminal case involving child pornography, they would consider you having access to it the whole time. The government would. Now, would that hold up in court? That'd be a tough one, but I think you'd have a lot of trouble if you're facing a charge like that. So, yeah, I think there's a bit of an issue here. I think there's a bit of an issue here. And I don't know if I agree with this, because this idea of public dissemination, well, Rose was the public. The private nature of it was between Destiny and Pixie. Rose was the public. It was a public dissemination. He didn't have the right to do it. Under Cardi, what he did, giving it to Rose, let's time the time constraints. Let's assume that they're met. And the law applies and covers the time range. Him giving it to Rose violates Cardi. So the idea that this doesn't count there, Rose is not the public. Is she private? Is it private now? If I have something between me and you that's private and I share it with somebody else, it's still private? I think you're going to have to make the argument there, Lou, that if I give you something, if you and me have a thing and it's between us, and then I give it to someone else, is it still private? I'm not trying to call you out, but I'm saying Now, if you're Destiny, you're going to have to make the argument of, well, that technically wasn't a public dissemination. And here's a great point. Cardi doesn't differentiate between public and private dissemination. I know. So see, this is why I don't think this is and you kind of answered my question for me. None of this matters. This legal theory here in Ray versus Greenberg doesn't matter because Cardi doesn't care. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think this helps here, ultimately. If you share with Gino Bisconti, is it still private? Yes. But I agree, Lou. Like, yeah, did Solo Tiny Leaks publicize it? Sure. But I think the idea that you can claim giving it away to somebody is not now introducing it to the public is a bit preposterous. It's only private between the parties that wanted to keep it private. Once you introduce other people, it's now public. Now, public, it might not be in front of the entire public, but certainly you've now increased the circle and you've broken it open for the public to now be exposed to it. So, Cardi never cared about Destiny. She got records to make. They say it's similar case, Greenberg versus Ray, which is a parallel case where these parties sue each other. The court expand on its reasoning as applied to violation of computer fraud statutes. They say in Greenberg, the court rejected the assertion that material sent via Google Drive could be considered a continuous distribution to the public. Notice, I think it's a bit interesting that they haven't gotten to any sort of circuit court on this yet. I do think that's a bit interesting here. This hasn't, because Google Drive's been around, 20 years now? At least 10, 15? And they say plaintiff acknowledges that the portion on the Google Drive is not password protected, but plaintiff alleges this setting did not per se render the drive public, given the URL was a string of 68 characters. What's more, the Google Drive is not indexed by any search engines. Therefore, it wasn't just anyone with a browser who could stumble upon the Google Drive. The internet denizen wishing to access it needed to obtain the exact URL in the browser. By the court side, the plaintiff alleges that Google Drive had limitations and thus persons attempting to access it need authorization. Yeah, but it's still, I don't, it gets a little ridiculous here because if I share it with 1 million people because I can't, think about it. If I shared it with 10,000 people, oh, that's not going to work. If I shared it with 10,000 people, how does that work? By their logic, if I find 10,000 people, and I send them the Google link drive, and I send the Google Drive link to them, it's not private. It's not public. This is, once again, I think there's a bit of a boomer issue here. Thus the person attempting to access it needed authorization. Just think about that. 10,000 people. If I had 10,000 people, but only people were getting the exact URL, by this judge's logic, by that argument, it doesn't matter. It's like, I don't know about that. I don't agree with that at all. That does not jive. Because what's the threshold? Is it 1? Is it 10? Is it 100? Is it 1,000? Is it 10,000? Is it 100,000? What's the limit? Yeah, if I find the street address, am I authorized to enter a home? Yeah, 10,000 of my closest friends. 10,000 of my closest friends. And see, this is the argument. I think Brettler and them have to be careful because they're setting themselves up for, and I don't know what Pixie and her attorneys are going to do, but this is an argument I would come back on right here and say, hey, man, like that doesn't work. That doesn't work. I would fight that here. Yes, and they say even if Destiny's transmission of Rose occurred via a private Google Drive link, which they're saying this is just assuming an arguendo that this occurred, such conduct cannot constitute a continuous transmission as a matter of law. Plaintiff cannot present any legal authority to the contrary. Nor is there any meaningful difference between a one-time file attachment and a one-time Google Drive link. Well, how do you know it was one-time Google Drive link? How do you know it was a one-time link? In either case, the sole transmission of the video cannot constitute a continuous ongoing disclosure. I mean, how do you know? We don't. And remember, other women have said they've gotten it. Because remember, it's still what is the issue? How many people does it take? Is it still revenge porn? Sure. But if it falls outside the law, this court has no jurisdiction over it. And notice, they're saying they can't present any legal authority. You found one fucking case, motherfucker. Like, look what they did here. This theory here, they found, like, here's the problem for them. They found one, like, okay, Ray versus Greenberg, and then Greenberg versus Ray. They found one case, and a district court halfway across the country. Is that better than nothing? Yes, but is that really much better? No. This was they had to dig for this. If they had something better, they would have had more. They would have had a lot more. And Lewis says, I don't think the number is a threshold. For example, you could share private information with an organization. Yes, but would that organization then be private? Would it be private? Still? If I shared it with a group of people and that person didn't consent to it, would that be private? Like, you understand where I'm getting with that. No, I don't think it would. If I shared your if you sent me a nude picture and I shared it with a small group of people, is that still private to you? You wouldn't think so. And the average person would not agree. That would not be, nobody would consider that private still. And they say, now this is where I think they do have a little more effect here. This argument, I think, is a lot better for them. The new allegations regarding Abby are not consistent with the evidence. And I think this is where, like, this is probably one of their stronger arguments. In their latest attempt to manufacture subject matter jurisdiction, Pixie amended her complaint to allege that at some unspecified time, and that's something I think they can make a lot out of. This is something I think they could do a lot with. Destiny sent the video to Abby via Google Drive link. The allegations are not only unsupported, but are also contradicted by the evidentiary record. Moreover, the reliance on the testimony established subject matter jurisdiction is particularly misplaced. Abby has evaded service of a subpoena, failed to volunteer for a deposition. Well, that doesn't mean shit if she failed to volunteer. And declined to appear to testify at the June 3rd trial. How do we know that she declined to appear? But anyways, the refusal to produce evidence consistent with allegations is fatal. Plaintiff cannot meet her burden to establish subject matter jurisdiction, and it should be granted accordingly. So what are they arguing here? They're saying Destiny sent the video via Google Drive, that Abby recognized Pixie in the video by her face and hair. The record, however, contradicts these claims and confirms that Destiny never transmitted the video to Abby, nor has plaintiff produced any evidence to the contrary. And says, to be clear, Pixie bears a burden to prove the facts sufficient, and she does. And they're saying she can't meet her burden. And they say Destiny's preserved communication logs with Abby conclusively establish he never transmitted the video at any time. And it says these logs capture every media file ever transmitted to Abby, and none contain the video depicting plaintiff. He shared a Google Drive, not the video. Well, to Rose, he shared a video. It's some semantics. Well, welcome to being a fucking lawyer. This is what you do. Actually, this is what we do for a living. You act like a little dickhead with words. So you might say like, "Oh my god, this is some kikey, like these are some like, kikey word games." It's like, "Yeah, that's what we do, man." It's all about what does this mean? What is the definition of is? So, they point out the original file name of the video was blah 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 MP4. What was revealed when Solo Tiny Leaks uploaded to the forums without authorization. By contrast, the files Destiny sent to Abby bear entirely different file names, none of which correspond to the file name of plaintiff's video. That doesn't actually mean much because Destiny could have changed the name. The idea that he wouldn't change the name doesn't really mean a whole lot. I could change the name to a video. I could change the name of a file right now. Does that mean it's not the same thing going out? No. And it says further, each of the media files that Destiny sent to Abby contain embedded date stamps indicating the date in which the original file was created. And it says, for example, spoiler pixel 2023-0310.mp4, whatever it is. These date stamp files confirm that each of the files that Abby sent to Abby were created in 2023, unlike the video depicting plaintiff, by which plaintiff's own testimony was created in 2020. That doesn't actually mean anything because that means, okay, he cut it up or he changed the file name or he copied and pasted. That doesn't actually mean a whole lot because I can add this, whatever I could do here. I could do this. Like, this is not, that's not conclusive proof. You would need to open up the data in the actual file and examine that. And even then, you can fuck with the stuff inside of a file to make it say a lot of things if you're very crafty. It's not impossible. So this right here is a tough one. What he made the argument before is some of it contradicts, but when you're making the argument of, well, the file names, like I could change the file name to 2025 right now if I wanted to. Does that mean it's okay? Well, no. The evidence also establishes that Destiny did not transmit the video to Abby via Google Drive. Destiny sent Abby only 2 Google Drive links on November 3rd. Well, you're admitting you're using Google Drive. The contents of each of those contain videos of Destiny with another woman who uses the screen name Peach, and they do not depict plaintiff. In fact, Peach herself confirmed these files, bearing the same unique Google Drive URLs that Destiny sent to Abby, depict her and not Pixie, exclaiming, "Oh my God, aw, that's me," in contemporaneous communications with Destiny. In those same communications, Peach consented to and even encouraged further sharing of her video. And it says, you can also add the video to my resume if you have any single friends. It's like, oh yeah, you're going to hang out with Destiny's friends. Oh, buddy. You guys want to see Clyde? Fine, I'll grab Clyde. Hold on. Hey, Clyde. Oh, hi, Bubba. You're sitting right here. Come here. Hey. Come here, Clyde. Hey. Clyde. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come on, buddy. Hey. Hold on, guys. I'm going to pick him up. Hold on, Clyde. Come here, buddy. Come on. Hi. Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go, Butters. Ah, there you go. You got your Clyde. You got your Clyde, chat. There you go. Oh. They notably honor about September 5th. Abby visited Bennell at his home. God almighty. Oof, brave person there. Destiny temporarily left his home and let Abby stay there while she waited for her flight that evening. Unbeknownst, Abby began snooping around his house and studio, taking videos and photographs of his possessions. She sent a photograph of Destiny's desktop computer to her friend Darius with the message, "Major leaks, probably." Without Destiny's knowledge, Abby had access to his computer and was able to view private files directly from his desktop. Okay. To To the extent Abby claims she could have seen the video, she could have only done so while snooping through Destiny's computer, not because Destiny transmitted the video to her. I don't know how arguing I was too negligent to protect the stash of nudes I had from prying eyes is going to be an effective defense. Ultimately, because think about this. The argument that Pixie has made from the start is, had you not given this shit to Rose, it would never have gotten to Solo, Tiny Lee. It never would have been leaked on the farms, which is a fair statement. Had you not done X, Y would never have happened. Had you not left Abby in your fucking house unsupervised around all this shit that's not, secured, she would never have seen it. Like, I mean, was it an intentional disclosure? Like, can you argue you intended to leave it open? Like, you left this stuff out where somebody could easily see it and she could find it? It sounds like she didn't have to, hack your files to find it. It sounds like it was right out in the open. It's almost like you wanted her to see it. And Lou, you're saying the argument was never transmitted. And I think that's, if she has a copy, I don't think that is a motion to dismiss, but might set up for summary judgment. And I think that's actually correct. If you're going to make that argument, that's summary judgment territory. But I think you can argue he transmitted and left it for her to pick up and retrieve. And you could argue, I don't know how Pixie would argue that specifically, because this is a bit of a new area of law. Could you argue a kind of like a passive transmission in a way? I don't know if the court would agree with that, but it sounds like he left it out and wanted her to see all of it. I mean, as we see Destiny go on and on and on and on and on, he seems to have a bit of a humiliation fetish, or at least is willing to let people be. He's very voyeuristic and exhibitionist in his tendencies. So it's like he left it out for her to see it. And I'm like, kind of what I'm thinking here when I was looking at this earlier. So I'll take, what is a dead drop for 400, Alex? I mean, maybe it is a dead drop. Maybe that's the argument here. I don't know. But Destiny's going to say, I never let her do it. And yes, and this is the other thing too, Justin. You're correct. This is Destiny's framing of the situation. And I will say that too, chat. Here's the big thing. As this goes on right now, this is it's kind of like when you listen to the prosecution's case. Before the defense has had a chance to present, you're supposed to go, oh my God, their case is really strong. We haven't heard the responses to this yet, where they could say, nope, we're poking holes in all this, or bullshit. Yeah. So just keep that in mind too. But I think this here, arguing that when you make the argument that she saw all this and she hacked my computer, I don't think that really works the way, really don't think that works the way you think. Oh, yes, guys, Clyde got a haircut over the weekend. Yes, he did. He got a haircut on Sunday. He's a good-looking doggo. He's got to be a good-looking doggo for his new friend that's coming over. But yes, he got a haircut. And then the Abby declaration and accompanying exhibit fail to support, let alone prove, subject matter jurisdiction. And they say Pixie contends that the video was submitted to Abby, but does no such thing. Instead of providing evidence, a screenshot of a message which Destiny supposedly sent the video, Pixie relies on a single self-serving text message from Abby to an unknown third party, dated November 3rd, 2023. Well, of course it's self-serving. Everything Pixie's going to offer is self-serving. It's all going to be self-serving. No shit. It's going to be self-serving. Duh. And this is one where I have videos of him fucking cheering and Pixie. It's like the LMFAO, Lamau. And then it says, the authenticated exhibit does not come close to establishing Destiny transmitted the video at all, let alone that he transmitted the video at any time after the effective date of the Cardi statute. Pixie could have submitted such proof of a transmission, yet she has not done so. and for good reason. It never happened. I don't know about that it's a complete lie. I don't know if I would go that far because, yeah, that's a bit of a... If you really thought that this is the case, why are you not filing a Rule 21 motion? Rule 11 motion. Rule 11 motion, telling them to withdraw stuff. Because I don't think that's happened. This hasn't happened. You could file your Rule 11 stuff. If this is all they've got and you think it's bullshit, you should be filing Rule 11 stuff. You haven't done that. I kind of wonder why. If you think this is all bullshit and they're offering fake evidence. And they say at most the proffered Abby declaration with the company exhibit constitutes inadmissible hearsay. An out-of-court statement offered to prove that Destiny transmitted a video of plaintiff to Pixie after the Cardi statute went into effect. Say Abby does not submit any actual evidence of the transmission, but submits a text that she sent wherein she claims she received a video of Destiny from an unknown person at an unknown time. The declaration and exhibit should be disregarded accordingly. Can they file a Rule 11 post hoc? Not really. I mean, at that point, it's kind of late. You file a Rule 11 as soon as you think bullshit's going down. You don't wait. So. And it says Abby refuses to comply with the subpoena, and the plaintiff's counsel refuses to provide contact information for their star witness. Now, they say the sole remaining basis relies on the uncorroborated and untested declaration of Abby. Plaintiff and her counsel have allegedly obstructed Destiny's access to their star witness for nearly 5 months. And you're just now complaining about it? Depriving Destiny the opportunity to cross-examine Abby. Also, here's the thing. How does Destiny not know how to get a hold of her? I mean, because this is the one thing here. Remember, chat. Abby came to Destiny's house. He can't find information out from her. He doesn't know how to get a hold of her. He doesn't know anything about her. It's a little bit of a weird thing. There for me. Do you have this chick over to your house and you don't know how to get a hold of her, brah? I get it. You don't have, everything, but it's a little weird, in my opinion. It's a little weird. A little weird and a little funny. And it says, in other statements that she has made about Destiny in this lawsuit. And it says, despite that, Abby is on notice of and in possession of the subpoena. How do you know she has it? I mean, she could be on notice of it. She could be clearly dodging, certainly, Lou. I'm not saying she's not. But, that's not, once again, this is a case involving a bunch of fucking psychotic women. So, they're going to act like psychotic women. She's clearly dodging it, sure. I don't doubt she's dodging. But this idea that she has possession of it, well, she probably doesn't, but could she be dodging and failed to appear to testify at the June hearing? Was she subpoenaed to testify at the June hearing? I don't know. And then Lou says she might have supposedly gotten a car crash and has brain damage. Everybody in Destiny's Orbit has brain damage. That's not fair. Some people were smart and got out. But I would say a lot of people in Destiny's Orbit have brain damage or brain damage. She moved to Rhode Island from Florida. She might be homeless. Well, homeless BPD horrors. Imagine that. But yes, like I said, there are people who used to be in Destiny's Orbit who are not retarded. But if you're in Destiny's Orbit, there's a lot of people are going to presume you are retarded. They say Abby continues to evade service. She has commented online and elsewhere about being aware of the subpoena and recently suggested in a live stream that her attorneys advise her to continue to evade service. Now, here's the thing. If they know all this, Lou, what I would say is this is where you would include all of that, her saying she's, brain damaged and homeless. And then it says she stated her attorneys advised her to continue to evade process He continues to submit evidence. They say plaintiff and her counsel should not be rewarded for obstructing Destiny's access to Abby, an individual they identified in their initial disclosures. They refuse to accept service, and they refuse to provide the current contact information, as required in the Federal Civil Procedure. And yes, you have to provide the name, address, and telephone number of each individual likely have discoverable information. And they say in a timely manner you provide it if you learned something new material where your response is incorrect. So like if you find out, hey, the guy lives in Odessa, Texas, and that's what you say, I say 123 Elm Street in Odessa, Texas, and instead the guy actually lives in Amarillo, Texas at 123 Elm Street. I need to tell the opposing party, hey, I thought he lived in Odessa. He actually lives in Amarillo. The street address is the same. And if the additional and corrective information has not been made, known, and they say the uncorroborated declaration should be discarded. Yeah, well, you had 5 months to work on this. Now, waiting this long to say ultimately here's where we are, okay, but I think you could have been bringing this up earlier and earlier and earlier. Really bringing this up earlier. Glad to Super Zen tonight. Yeah, he's pretty chill. He's pretty chill. J-Stock is demoted. So 24/7, so it tracks. Well, if she moved to Rhode Island from Florida, she must have brain damage. Well, that's fair too. Yeah. Rhode Island isn't a real place. It's a hell. There's a lot of people there. And they say the court should not exercise supplemental jurisdiction over the remaining state law claims. And guys, this here is the argument that if the federal question, Cardi, gets dismissed, does the court retain jurisdiction? Now, the court can, but it doesn't have to. It's saying should not, and it's saying should not, meaning it doesn't have to and it shouldn't, not it can't. And they point out that these are state law claims only. And they say federal law is clear that the root of the federal claims are dismissed before trial. A court should decline, meaning it should. It doesn't have to. Okay, and they say ultimately district courts may decline to exercise supplemental jurisdiction over a claim if the district court has dismissed all claims over the original jurisdiction. And remember, we are in the 11th Circuit, so this is what controls. So notice, it's may. It's discretionary. But a lot of courts like to get rid of it because you know what? It's less shit on their plate. It's less shit on their plate. And it says, when they cite more and more cases here, but also 2018 is the big one because obviously it's newer than 1987. But they're saying, indeed, state courts, not federal courts, should be the final arbiters of state law. Yes. And they say here the remaining claims raise no federal question. Correct. And no diversity jurisdiction exists. Correct. Pixie and Destiny both live in the Southern District of Florida. They both live in the Southern District of Florida, so there is no diversity jurisdiction. Obviously, the amount in controversy is greater than $75,000. But remember, they live in the same state. But even worse for Pixie, they live in the same district. They're both down in Miami. So they say that these arise under Florida's statutory and common law and should be dismissed accordingly. And like I said, courts don't like to do it if they don't have to. Federal courts like to bail, and I don't blame them for punting if they can get away with it because remember, judges got other shit to worry about. This federal court, you know how much shit is on his plate? All kinds of stuff. And if he can get rid of the whole thing, get rid of the whole thing. You don't have to stick around. You don't have to stick around. You don't stick around. So they wanted to grant the motion dismissed in its entirety, which is not going to happen. Dismiss the complaint without prejudice. Well, and the argument, and some of you might say, why without prejudice? Because that's how a court would do it. Typically, even it's not going to be with prejudice. That's normally a sanction issue. But here's the point. even if it's dismissed without prejudice, based on the information that Pixie has, that still wouldn't get her to the gate. And remember, the idea is she has to get past October 1st of 2022. Well, if it gets dismissed now, let's say the judge just goes ahead and dismisses the whole thing. Even if Pixie has more time and back to the lab again to work on this, it still won't count. Is part of the reason why she's not. Basically, Destiny's saying dismiss without prejudice because basically she's soft locked, meaning there's no way for her to get what she needs to overcome the hurdle of October 1st, 2022. Therefore, it doesn't matter if it's dismissed with or without prejudice because she can't overcome that hurdle. What's to stop Pixie from filing criminal charges against Destiny? Going to the prosecutors. I mean, the prosecutor's sitting there saying, wait, what is this? This is internet shit. And then him going, gay, and hanging up the phone. I mean, that's the big thing. Would a prosecutor pick this case up? And I doubt the state's attorney will. There's also an issue of when you file when you go to the police, do you really want to really want to get put on the witness stand like that? Although she's doing it here. But maybe she has already. Maybe she tried. And the prosecutor's like, yeah, I ain't fucking filing this. Because they're going to be like, wait, what is... The prosecutor gets his, the file. Maybe it's electronic or whatever. Let's say he gets his file and he's like, what is this? This is gay internet shit. I'm not prosecuting this. That could have already happened. We don't know. Maybe the cops looked at her and said, we're not touching it. Lou says, which lucky? Yes, we're going to get to the attachments here. But that thing about whether or not Pixie did this, if she went ahead and filed something, I mean, she could, but maybe she already has. Who knows? We don't know the story yet. But like I told you, I don't think it would get prosecuted. If it came to me, I mean, once again, you're dealing with the Miami-Dade County State's Attorney's Office. They got real fucking problems. They got murders and drug trafficking and robbers and rapists and all kinds of real shit going down. Are they going to waste time on this? Maybe not. Maybe it's not worth their time. Maybe they're going to look at this and say, this is kind of fucking sketch. Also, there might be a statute of limitation issue. Destiny did this back in 2022. I don't know what the statute of limitations on this would be when he disseminated it. We don't know. Remember, all this stuff, and if you came in there with the Abby MC stuff to a criminal case, so a prosecutor, they'd say, that's not enough. Get me something stronger to sustain a beyond reasonable doubt conviction. So we don't know. And maybe the statute of limitations wouldn't support it. Maybe there's some case law out there that wouldn't support the facts being able to go forward on. There's a lot of stuff out there. And even then, as I stated from the beginning, would that be a proper use of government to address a problem? Remember what I said, when it comes to doing the criminal law thing, you really need to make a decision. Is this worth putting somebody in a cage for an indeterminate amount of time, possibly, as a worst case scenario? And I get it. You don't like Destiny, and that's fine. You don't have to. But it's just like Nick Rekieta. People were all upset, and they wanted Nick to go break rocks like in fucking Rambo 2, or go make license plates forever like Sideshow Bob was doing. They want him to go to prison for fucking 20 years. No. How is society best served? And I would argue jailing him is not that, or giving him even criminal charges and making him face it. No, we have a civil process. Let that go do it. Let her go receive it there. Let her go seek justice in the civil courts. I don't think this would be a proper use of governmental power to prosecute. So even if it was all available, I would not support the use of that. And I hope you guys understand that. I hope you guys understand that. So even if there was something here, I wouldn't support that. I wouldn't support it. I don't think most prosecutors are going to want to waste time on it. So I hope that answers the question there. Because I think it's something you still need to go back to every time. Is that worth the exercise of governmental power? You guys, like, I don't like Nick either. That's the point. That's the point. If it's somebody you like, it's an easy saying, oh, well, don't fuck them over. But it's the people you don't like. Is this a judicious use of the government? No. No. And I think that's something we have to be honest about. And then Laz is saying, but what about the child porn? Well, the thing with Rose is different. You know, the actual sending stuff to Rose, yeah, I think Destiny's in a lot of fucking trouble. Is he going to be held responsible for it at the end of the day? I mean, we don't like to think so, but lolcows get out of legal trouble all the time. Lolcows get out of criminal liability all the time, and nothing happens to them. Why? Because they're lolcows. That's just the nature of it. Lolcows have an inherent ability to dodge criminal charges. Some of them a lot better than others, and I have a feeling Destiny would in this situation. He's guilty of it, but is he going to get prosecuted? I don't think so. I don't think so. Especially in Miami-Dade County, probably not. If this was out in one of the places I was a prosecutor, oh, we'd probably pick this up. But he's in, Miami-Dade County as like, what, 1 million people? Miami-Dade County has a population of, oh, geez, a lot more than that. 2.8 million people. So that's a lot of fucking people. And then, it's the 7th most populous county in the United States. It's a lot of fucking place, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. This is, and then north is Broward County. Broward County has 2 million people in it. I think it's Broward County, right? Hold on here. I got to do the map. Broward. Yep, Broward County's to the north. 2 million people. Okay. So, I mean, they're not going to waste time on that. I could see that. But, you're prosecuting in a county with 50,000 people. Yeah, you pick that up. But a county with 2 million people, not guaranteed they're going to do it. Like I said, they got a lot more stuff they're working on. So, when you were a prosecutor, did you ever prosecute a weed charge? People tell me all the people in danger by smoking weed in their house. No, I don't recall ever doing that. I mean, like, because they got caught with it in their car driving around like a fucking retard. Yes, but they were already getting caught for something else. You're saying, but Destiny deserves it. Yeah, but that's not the point. That's not the point. That, a lot of people deserve to be prosecuted. A lot of people deserve a lot of things to happen to them. That as Clint Eastwood said, deserve ain't got nothing to do with it. Deserve ain't got nothing to do with it. Although that's more of the guy saying, I don't deserve this. It's like, so just take justice in our hands. No, do not do that either. Do not do that either. Could this be considered high profile enough to go through? I mean, once again, guys, remember, Pam Bondi wants an easy win to go after some evil left-wing commentator. Yeah, that would be an easy win, but I don't know if the prosecutor, like a local prosecutor, would fucking waste time on this. I don't know if he would waste time on this. This would be a little tough for him. I think he'd be like, I don't want to be involved. I don't want to be involved. I don't want to be involved on this. I could easily see him saying that. I could easily see that happening. All right, guys. So we have, well, actually, where is it at here? Hold on. I just had it open. Where the fuck did it go? Hold on here. Okay, here we go. Exhibit A. Well, let's go through the exhibits real quick. These are the exhibits Destiny has, because, guys, here's how this is set up here. There are a bunch of exhibits for Destiny's declarations here. Then there's a bunch of exhibits for Brettler's declaration. So we're going to go through those in a second. But Destiny has his own declaration. So this is, read this in Destiny's voice. We're going to read along here. We're going to read this along in Destiny's voice. Read it in the same voice he used with Anna on Piers Morgan, which would be fucking hilarious. Which would be fucking hilarious. Lil, we're gonna get to those arguments here in a second. I think the best argument, ultimately, I think their best argument is to make the argument about the date and time. I don't think it's gonna work the way they think it will. I don't think their argument about the continuous Google Drive thing is gonna work because the idea you're claiming, like, it's got to be to like the public at large before it becomes a problem, I think runs you into an issue because that's not how the statute's set up, where it talks about like your dissemination has to be to like everybody on earth. You're just not allowed to share shit. So I think the Google Play stuff is actually going to hurt them in the long run. I think the strongest argument they have here is the original argument they had from the start. Is it going to carry the day? No. But it's still their strongest argument. It's one I said from the beginning, Pixie has a problem about, and Pixie has to be able to amend her complaint. If the judge had denied that, Pixie's fucking toast. So I do agree it's their strongest complaint, or strongest argument. So, Declaration of Destiny. And he says, I am the defendant in the case. I'm over 18 years of age, and I submit this declaration to dismiss the complaint. And he says, I have personal knowledge for the matters contained herein and can testify about it. Notice, this is already different than the bullshit for Stuttering John. Actually correct. So, you guys are quoting all shit on Unforgiven. I gotta make my bottom jaw do that thing. Where it feels, I don't know. It's weird. It makes me feel like it's gonna fall off. Like, also, I'm a little too fat, so it doesn't necessarily look like you can't see my jaw move like Destiny because he's skinny. I'm too fat for this, so you just see like my kind of like my gullet and my beard kind of move a little bit. I can't do it the right way. Thank you, though, Obscure. And Lou is saying, I'm not defending it. I know you're not defending the argument. I'm just making the point. That's the argument they just made, is that sharing it with one person doesn't count. And they are intentionally misstating how Cardi looks at things. So that's, I'm pointing out Brettler's intentionally misstating it. I'm not blaming you. I'm saying they're doing a bad job at it. Yes, he's fat. I know I am. Just shave yourself a jawline. Oh no, chat. Oh no. No. You guys. And so in or around November 2024, portions of my Discord communications with an individual named Rose were accessed from Rose's account, downloaded, and published on the Kiwi Farms website by an unknown third party with a screen name Solo Tiny Leaks. The leaks displayed screenshots in European format, day, month, year. Thus, the entry refers to 10/4/2022, refers to April 10th and not October 4th. Attached Exhibit A is a true and correct copy of the leaked screenshot of Rose's side of our Discord conversation, reflecting my transmission of the video on April 10th. That says, for comparison, Exhibit B are copies of my side of the Discord communication with Rose, which were not leaked to the public. We'll talk about that in a minute. Jeez. He says, because I'm in Florida, my own logs show the same communications as 4/9/2022, as April 9th at 2022 at 8:36 p.m., which would have been April 10th in Europe. Yes, because they're 5 hours ahead. I did not transmit the video to Rose or anyone else after April 9th, 2022. He says, in the days after I transmitted the video to Rose, I continued to communicate with Rose on Discord. Those communications were publicly leaked on Kiwi Farms and reflect the European date format. Attached as Exhibit C are true and correct copies of the side-by-side comparisons of my original logs with Rose as compared to the leaked screenshots of Rose's side. This says, for example, I messaged Rose on Discord, just streaming, and the date stamped is 4/4/2022. They say, is attached here is Exhibit D. It's a true and correct copy of a screenshot by Solo depicting the file name of the video as vid24 blah, 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 .mp4. The file name provides a unique identifier for the video against which other files can be compared. I mean, not really. I can label anything right now. I can go fucking make, I have an MP4 right now. I could do that. But that is not such a identifier that you can't remove. I understand what they're trying to say, but the idea is saying, oh, a video has a file name, therefore it's like, I don't know about, like, there's a better way to, I think they could have worded that. I think they could have worded that better. And yes, you can alter the metadata just as easily, which requires extreme forensic investigation to verify. I think that could be worded differently. They say it also confirms the video file was transferred directly through Discord as an attached MP4 file and not transmitted via Google Drive link. He says, I have preserved the entirety of my communication logs with Abby, including all media files. I did not transmit or otherwise disclose the video depicting Pixie to Abby at any time. And he says, attached here is a true and correct log of every media file and Google Drive link I ever sent to Abby. Now, here's the thing. We won't know this until we get Abby's side of it, if it's available. Because right now, it's just one side of a conversation. If that's because Destiny's trying to say up here, I have part A and part B of a conversation. Well, right now, all he has right now is part A. So it shows the log names, creation dates, and dates of everything I ever sent to Abby. The name of the video depicting plaintiff appears nowhere in the log because I never sent the video to Abby. Furthermore, every media I sent to Abby bears a 2023 creation date stamp, unlike the video which was created in 2020. Once again, that doesn't mean anything because you can change the name of whatever you want. And he says, as further reflected, I sent Abby 2 Google Drive links on November 3rd. Those links were videos of me with another woman with the screen name Peach, attached as Exhibit F. It says, showing that received the Google Drive links I sent to Abby bearing the same unique Google Drive URLs. In these chat logs, Baby Peach expressly acknowledged that the links depicted videos of herself and that she consented to my sharing of those files. Now, here's the thing. Well, we need to know who Peach is, and we have to depose Peach. This is a problem. You remember? Well, you can't show that thing of, she says she got it. Okay, well, Peach is saying this. Well, we need Peach saying this. We need, like, declarations from Peach. We need sworn statements from her. Like, we need all this information. We need all this information. So I think that's going to be a thing here for Destiny. We're going to have to find out, is this really from Peach? I mean, she could say it's all good. Peaches, yes, we're going to move into the country. Need a lot of peaches. Peach was just on Kick. Sounds like she's on Destiny's side. I'm not saying she's not. But she's going to have to, like, come in and say, yeah, that's me, and testify to all of it. But yeah, I mean, like, it's very interesting. The same argument they give well, why didn't they bring in this bitch Peach to come talk about stuff? Like, where's Peach's declarations? Like, I'm just saying, like, they could have done this on their own too. Because it seems like they kind of understood what Pixie's trying to argue. And then they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, here we go. It's like, then why weren't you on top of this already? That doesn't mean it's not right, but it's like, I feel like they kind of sat on this for a while. They kind of sat on this for a while, and I don't think they had to. I don't think they needed to. I'm just, like I said, this is my question here. This is my question here. I just think there's ways you could have done that. And it says, notably, Abby visited me at my home sometime after I left my home temporarily. I permitted Abby to stay in my home while she waited for her flight that evening. Unbeknownst to me at the time, Abby began snooping around my house and studio, taking photos of my possessions. How do we know that this is like, do you have video of her doing this? Do you have video of her snooping around? Do we know that for sure? Did you let her do this? Were you sitting there with her, like joking around with it? We don't know. Remember, we don't actually know if any of this is true. How do we know that Destiny didn't allow that? Like it's just, once again, remember this whole argument of Abby sending out a text message to somebody. Yeah, I think their text message sent to another streamer, sure, but once again, we don't like was Destiny in those was Destiny sitting right there? We don't actually know. Like, is he able to confirm and like show he left and went and did things? I mean, this is where, if I'm Pixie, this is where discovery comes in. You claim this happened. Okay, where did you go that day on September 5th? Where did you go? Now, if he said like, oh, I went to like fucking Shake Shack or something, there's probably not going to be any documentation for that unless he can get his like credit card receipts or something. Or he could say, I had to go to the doctor that day. Bam, I went. Here's the time I was there. He's saying supposedly he went to the airport. I think that could be confirmed. Yeah, if he can show that. But he doesn't say that here. He doesn't say, I went to the airport. He says, I left my home temporarily. What does that mean? It sounds like I stepped out. But this is where you have to articulate, and this is where, why aren't they being specific? It kind of makes you wonder. It makes you wonder, why aren't you just saying what the fuck you did? Why aren't you just saying what the fuck you did? Because if he said he left, I'm like, okay, bam, we got some smoking guns worth of information, but they don't have that. And this is, once again, this is where I think they could have something. He couldn't admit he was going to buy Adderall. Yeah. He also couldn't admit, oh, Lewis says now's the time to be specific. That'd be a summary judgment thing. I understand that, but saying I temporarily left my home, I think implies he stepped out for like a minute and said, I have to go run some errands. You get to stay here. He went to a Diddy party. I don't think he'd be cool enough to go to a Diddy party. I think that gives some issues here about this because, how do we know Destiny wasn't sitting there? You know. She sent a photograph of my open desktop to her friend Darius with the message, Major Leagues prob, without my knowledge. Abby had access to my computer, was able to view private files from my desktop. To the extent Abby claims to have seen that, she could have only done so while snooping through my computer, not because I ever transmitted the video to her. Attached here are true and correct copies of Abby's text messages with Darius, which include the photographs of my computer. Those screenshots were sent to me by the recipient, Darius. He says, I declare this is all true and correct. Executed on September 9, 2025. And signed DocuSign, guys. And DocuSign is an acceptable way of doing stuff. So some people have actually asked me about that. Does that matter? No, DocuSign's fine. DocuSign is legally accepted. And the idea is and let's say, obviously, DocuSign isn't the exact signature. He has adopted this as his signature, so it's valid. Actually, somebody asked me that one time on one of these complaints where somebody signed clearly differently. I think it was one of the more famous people. They had signed a declaration differently than they sign like autographs. You can make your autograph. You can make your, like, if you sign something as like and you do like, you make like a little kitty cat as your as you make it like a little kitty cat as your signature. That's your signature. You can adopt that. That is your mark. That is your mark. So let me see here. You have to be careful at DocuSign because of rampant phishing. I know. And you have to make sure if somebody sends you a link, you're expecting it and you know what it's all about. Yes, DocuSign is very dangerous, but DocuSign is very good. DocuSign is really good for a lot of things. But yeah, you can make this your thing right now. You could also make your signature an X, making your mark. A lot of people had that as their signature. Or Jewish immigrants to Ellis Island, when they were told to make their mark, would make a circle, which is also known as a keikel. And that's how the name kike became a thing, because they would draw keikels. And they'd say, oh, God, it's a fucking kike. That's where that came from, if you did not know. Why are you guys all mad about use the auto pens? I mean, if there's auto pens, that would be a valid way of doing it too. You guys are like, you don't say. And Harvey's like, I knew that. Yes. Some people use stamps and ink pads. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, but you can use an auto pen. Like, I know you guys are kind of like being goobers about it, but no, that would be perfectly legal. An auto pen would be perfectly legal. So, this is Exhibit A. This is Destiny saying 10/4/2022. And this is from Solo. And this is the argument is, this is Solo accessing Rose's stuff. If I can get the highlighter to work. This is Solo. This is Solo's view. This is the argument for Destiny. This is what Solo sees. This is his argument. So you see 10/4/2022, and it's hard. I can't really get closer because it's going to blur out. It's a little too blurry. And if I back up, it's hard to see even then. So, like, this is the best we can do, guys. This is the best we can do. You see, even now, I'm only at 190%. It's still garbage. So if we zoom out, it's kind of like you can't really see it. You can't really see it. But anyways, 10/4/2022, and then you have 10/4/2022 at 1:36 a.m. So that is Exhibit A. Now, Destiny's Exhibit B is from his side. This one is from Destiny's side of things. So here's Exhibit B. This is Destiny's side of it. And here's where he's claiming this is his thing. Now, it's a little, and this is something I don't know Discord well enough to explain. Nico says we're accepting screenshots as evidence. Sometimes that's all you have. Sometimes that's what we got for the logs. I mean, it can be. Remember, what's the test for evidence? What's the test for evidence? Is it relevant? And remember, all evidence is relevant to some degree. But what is the probative value? Is it more likely or less likely to prove something happened or did not happen? Can you test the credibility of it? Is there prejudice issues? Are there confusion? Could it confuse the jury or mislead a jury? 401 and 403, 401, 402, 403. Your analysis is always working. But, once again, we have, and this is where I bring up some concerns I have. And Lou, we'll get to your question here. These are some of the concerns I have. This is the one from Solo. And look at this one. Look at this. And I understand there's probably Destiny will have an answer for this, but look how this one looks. Now look at Destiny's. Bit different. Okay? It's a bit different here. It's a bit different. And why does it look this way? I don't know. And Lou is saying, this is what I'm talking about. These are correct. It looks pretty clear. The Euro date is true. Sure. It could be. Are we assuming he's lying in his sworn declaration? That wouldn't be the first time somebody's done that. I mean, this is where, Lou, I'm not making fun of you personally, but it's kind of like the meme goes, do you really think somebody would do that? Lie on the internet? It's like, do you really think somebody would do that? Lie in a court case? Yeah. Yes, all the fucking time. And the problem is Destiny is not credible. Destiny's not credible. And that's not because I think he's, fucking scumbag. I think the average person who's being honest would say Destiny's not fucking reliable. And the more and more he's acted lately, he sounds fucking unhinged. Like there's a lot that he is not credible in a lot of different ways. So remember that's the point here. You have to trust that he's being correct. And notice, like, if I want to challenge this, like, look at some of these things. Look at some of these things here with his look how this is all set up and how shit is like, stuff is zigzagging around. And you can say like, oh, that's not how this goes, but like, look at this. Look, like, does that look right? Like, does that look right? Notice how this is different from the one that's been presented. It's different than the one that's been presented. And why is all this shit redacted out? I think, because remember yes, some of this stuff like allegedly matches up, but how do we know it does match up? Like, what are all these artifacts in this? There's so many artifacts in what Destiny has. How do you trust it? Like, you're going to have to explain all these different artifacts that are here and why Tiny somehow doesn't have all these artifacts. This looks normal. This doesn't. Could there be a reasonable explanation? Sure. And if there is, great. If there's not, ooh, child, it's not good. So, yeah, the 839 looks like, yeah, I mean, here's the big thing, and this is something like when you look at it, like 839. Like, and once again, you guys might say, well, I'm picking at this and being all melanated. 839 shifted. When you look at that was amazing. This is shifted around. There's an artifact here. There's artifacts in this whole thing. The avatars are missing. There's another fucking artifact here. What is this? What is that artifact? And Lou says one was pulled directly from Discord, the other was pulled from some sort of log system. Which, and here's your problem, Lou. What is that system? Who wrote it? How reliable is it? Is it good? Can I go into it and manipulate it? What, like, that becomes now, like I said, becomes the evidence? This is why I have problems believing Destiny's allegations. Like, how do I know what I'm looking at? How do I trust it? Like, there's a lot of things here that are fucking sus. But even then, if this is pulled from a log, why does the log have fucking artifacts everywhere? Like, why are these artifacts in the screenshots? Like, if it's just going to be pulling out a log and it's going to look like a TXT file, why does it look all fucking garbage? Like, that's the problem here. It looks like hot garbage. Like, if this came to me as part of a criminal case, I'd say this is fucking bullshit. This one's not even set. Like, why is this one all fucking tilted and crooked? Like, this isn't a screenshot. This looks like somebody, like, why is this all tilted? Why is this not straight up and down? Why is this, like, on a slant? Once again, going back to, why does it not look like this? Where is this one? Where is this one? Where is that one? Rose had access, Solo had access to it. So why doesn't Destiny have access to his? Like, there's so, like, think about this for criminal information. You'd say this is fucked up in a criminal case. So that's all I'm trying to get at here. This is where we get to, yeah, if everything he says is true, but I can't take this shit as true. This is all, and Pixie's probably going to bring it up. This shit is all fucking scuffed up. This is fucking scuffed. Man, this is scuffed more than some black guy's shoes at, like, going to the movies. Somebody scuffed his Pumas and you're going to fight. But, I mean, look at this. This just like, you know, Avatar looks like it's not a full thing. You know, like these, like Avatar looks like it's a different font each time. There's some like, and that is different than this. And Rose is bent and crooked, and it doesn't look like it's. There's just so many things I would attack on this. Yeah, look at the 847. Yeah, the 7's a different font. I would argue the PM is different font than the date and time here. There's just so much of this that just the PM, the M doesn't work. Like the 54, you know, and that's the one thing here. It would be one thing if like it was all consistent, but these aren't even consistent fucky wuckies. The fucky wuckies are not consistent. Like I would get, like you can make an argument that, okay, the hour part's going to be fine, but the minutes are going to be weird. But not all the minutes are weird in the same thing, because some of them, like the, you know, the first placeholder is fine. Then the second part, like 806, the 6 is fucked up. The 6 is fucked up. But then you have like 28 after, and both of them are fucked up. And then you go down to 33, 833, they both look fine. But then you get into 839 and the 9's fucked up now. This is just, once again, this is going to be on, like, I can't trust that. I can't trust that. Yes, we get it. I'm just really hammering the point. It doesn't matter where it is, mine is correct. Well, I mean, that could be true too, but we're going to have to see those things. Terabit's saying him not presenting the court with the originals could be sketchy. He may not have them. Like, Destiny may delete his shit after a while. And I could see that because Destiny probably has, like, you know how many people have probably DM'd Destiny in the past 5 years? Since 2022. Just go back to 2022. Go back 3 years. Think about how many fucking DMs that guy has. And I'm not even talking about, like, the sex pest or creepy shit. I'm just saying in general, people saying, like, hey, Destiny, what's up? Blah, 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 blah. Talking to other creators, people just messaging him. All kinds of shit. Gajillions of fucking things. And I think I have a lot in my Discord DMs. But think about how many he has, more than I can fucking comprehend. So I could see him deleting stuff once in a while and getting rid of it. I could see that. So it might be gone. Might be gone. The irony is you can grab up the CSS and copy it exactly. Well, was it clearly photoshopped? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why it looks like this, but Lou says, what about the other one? Don't they align? They do, but once again, like, I need proof, like 100% beyond a reasonable doubt. Like, well, I'm not saying 100% reasonable doubt, but like, you know, Solo says he's in Europe. Like, have we, like, in what way have we confirmed that beyond a, you know, to a legal certainty? Like, to, you know, preponderance of the evidence standard. I don't think that's been established yet. So, like, why has Destiny done any due diligence to prove Solo is in Europe? Him just saying, ha ha ha, I'm in Europe doesn't actually mean anything to me. Because we don't know who he is. Now, you guys saying, what about Discord's applying the logs? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, Chet is saying, I don't know if they would do that. Yes, I hammer the point. Well, I'm a fat guy. I'm not going to run away from it. I took a seat. I sat on a bench, and we're talking about it. I'm not getting up. So, let me see here. Mike says, notice how the EU screenshots of the PM and AM are all lowercase, too. And Destiny's are uppercase. Yeah, but I don't know if that's a formatting thing. Like, oh, hold on here. Let me bring up mine. Let me see what did mine look like real quick. Mine are in uppercase. But also remember, this is 3 years later. So we have to be careful about that, chat. Do you guys remember what Discord's formatting looked like 3 years ago? If we don't, I think we're kind of stuck in a position where we can't comment on that. That's not I think a fair argument, because you'd have to know what it looked like 3 years ago, and and if you can't say, I don't think that's a fair argument. I don't think that's a proper argument to make. Could be a system setting too, yeah. I wasn't on Discord 3 years ago, yeah. Well, yeah, well, no. So, I mean, so there you go. There you go. I think that's your problem. So I think, like, while it's a good point, it's unsubstantiated. I think we have to move on. So we'll do Exhibit C now. C, as in cunt. So here's Exhibit C from Destiny. And it says leak screenshots. And notice here now, we have these differences. And I think it's a little like, how does it artifact in like that? And I still want to know, what are these artifacts that we're seeing in the sides? Because how does this all work? And just zooming in on this, notice that these things are now normal. These are now normal. You're zooming in and they get a little fucking scuffy. I get it. But notice these are all fine now. Well, why weren't they fine before? And then you get down to this one here. Remember, like, these things showing the sideways clipping. Where did that all go? Now it's different. Like I said, I'm just saying, I don't know how this stuff is set. So, also, here's one where, here is, some of these make sense, but some of them don't. So why do we have these issues? And yeah, you can see here, Destiny side of it, or the leak screenshots are in the EU format. He's saying that's a US format. So, yeah, it can be, but we might be doing weird shit. Yeah. Once again, those look fine now, but why was that other one full of fucking artifacts? And also, I don't, once again, I would still never want to show this as an excuse of, I didn't leak these, therefore, but, me trying to entice a minor across state lines. Like, this is where, once again, I don't think Destiny's attorney knows that there's issues about Rose being underage, because he's kind of like explaining legitimacy stuff. You give up trying to explain one to the other one to me. Where did you say it, Anderson? I didn't see you post something. The avatar's bit is the image didn't load. I get that it didn't load, but it's, notice when you looked at the first things here, my point is these didn't show up. They're showing up differently. So it's not even the same program or log compiling program that Destiny used. I would argue these are two different log compilers. So which ones did he use? How did he use them? How do they work? Have they ever been inspected? Like, I understand they didn't load. I'm pointing out there's an issue. DV8 says, you do know there are public Discord screenshots from 3 years ago. This is not difficult. I'm just pointing out what he's using, and I'm pointing out the problems with it. But thank you for the super chat. I said the other one looks like pasted images. I agree. Something doesn't add up. Yes. I said I agree they look like they're pasted. They don't match. Something's wrong there. So that's all of this. But yes, this is also proof that Destiny actually did engage all this shit with Rose. It's like, I don't really know if you really want to admit to all that, but hey. Yeah. Yeah, I just... yeah. Anyways, go on to Exhibit D in Destiny's thing here. This one's shorter. And this is Solo Tiny Leaks. And it says, they say other interesting geolocation for some videos. And it says not safe for work, Destiny sucking cock. And he says, also the $50 PayPal thing was a joke. I did try to give Destiny an ultimatum before posting. So, also, why isn't saying hold on. I'm on page. There we go. Oh my God. They like did this in, oh, it's like stretched out. Okay. So anyway, somebody in Latrell Spree was saying when they originally uploaded the videos, they tried to preserve their file names. And they said that we want all the original file names for this video. And this is where he posted he has the original file names for a video. I don't think Destiny told his lawyer anything. I'm sure he didn't because we couldn't do there. Deviate is saying we know the screenshots are fake. The conclusion is obvious. Okay, I agree. I'm just telling you based on, and I'm sure Pixie's going to bring that up. But if I'm only looking at the evidence here, and because a lot of people looking at this, I agree that those things, I think there's some stuff has been fucked with, but I can't for sure say that. I know some of you out there can make your own, expert determinations, but just looking at what's in front of us, we can make our own conclusions that get us to the same spot, that something here doesn't make sense. And I will say this was a fucking wild time to be on when all this shit dropped. And then here's Exhibit E. Oh, you guys are saying misunderstood what he meant there. Yeah, I agree, but I'm just saying you can point out the screenshots themselves, Glow, without going to the extraneous information. These are all the things, all the media files sent to Abby. Once again, like, how the hell do I know all this is legit? Like, how do I know? How do I know? How do I know stuff wasn't deleted? I don't know. I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know what he used. So this once again gets us to how do you determine all of this and verify it or, do anything to the provenance of any of this? Can they call BS? I mean, well, they could just say, Your Honor, like, we don't know if this shit's legit or not. I mean, it looks like it's something. Is it an Excel file or is it something spit out? We don't know. And then the other point is, though, when you get to this here, see, this is a separate like program. Program 1, program 2. I don't know which one's which and like what are the method, like anything about these. It's probably Google Sheets, but it looks well like, yes, ultimately this data was put onto a spreadsheet. But did Destiny copy and paste all the shit out of a program, put on a spreadsheet? That now induces evidentiary issues of, well, what's the original document look like? What does the original run report look like? We don't know. Once again, that's just a layer upon a layer upon a layer upon a layer of authenticity and authentication problems. We don't know. It's just an Excel file. I agree. I've been loving your stream so far. I've been laughing hard. Chat. I understand Deviate, and I get we have a lot of extraneous information out there, extrinsic information out there. But just focusing on what's in front of me, can I make an argument saying I got a lot of problems with this? Yes. I don't have to know about the other shit out there. I could just say we don't know what it looks like, so how do we know it's legit? That automatically creates question about the authenticity and credibility of these exhibits. So it doesn't take much to look at them. Like, Brettler could come in there and say, you fucking faggots, it's all bullshit. And you go, oh, wow, that sounds bad. But until you get to the exhibits, you're like, this isn't that bad. This ain't that bad. Can you call BS or would they need somebody to challenge it? Well, first of all, the impetus would be on Destiny to show that this is reliable data. Remember, it's relevant. Okay. It's relevant, but is it authentic? Can you authenticate it? Is it reliable? What type of program did you use? All those different things you have to lay foundation for. And then Pixie has the right to challenge. So until all that's been provided, I don't know how that would work. I don't think that's all been set so far. Axios, they have asked for Discord logs. Yeah. Lou says, now the motion's filed, how many back and forth do they get in response to this? Typically the way this works is Destiny files a dismiss. Pixie gets to go, no, that's not true. And then Destiny gets to do a reply. So there's motion, response, and then reply. That's generally it. That's typically the volley. Destiny hits it, Pixie hits it back, and Destiny gets to hit it again. And he's supposed to get the last word because he's carrying, That said, though, because Pixie's carrying the burden of proof to show subject matter jurisdiction, I would make the argument she gets to do a sur reply, meaning she gets to make an additional argument. So Destiny hits, Pixie hits back, Destiny hits again, and because Pixie has a burden, she should be allowed to send it back over the net. I would make that argument if she's got the burden at that point. So it end on Destiny, not on Pixie. Typically, but we've also seen cases in federal. Well, we've seen lolcow cases where it's kind of like Russell Greer is a great example. Boom, 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 boom. That happens sometimes too in the courts. Sometimes the court doesn't stop it right away and it gets out of control. Sometimes the court says, no. I think there's more here. I need you to brief this more in depth. But yes, typically it's a 3-step. There's three. You get 3 documents. You get the motion, the response, and then the reply. Lou says, damn, Sean, what time you logging off? What do you mean? I don't get. Yeah. Yes. And yes, and all it takes is one little fucky wucky in this stuff, and Pixie can point out to the judge is going to look at that and say, yeah, these dates. And remember, there might be plausible explanations for all these artifacts. The judge is going to be like, this don't make no fucking sense. And he'll say, fine, I'm resolving in Pixie's favor. Her shit's more credible. Now, if Pixie's coming in, if I'm Pixie, do I bring in all the extraneous information to show Destiny fucked with the logs? Sure. But that's not here yet. Chet. You're arguing facts that aren't in evidence yet. You're arguing facts that are not in evidence. You can't use a Greer as an example for expected behavior. Yeah, but Melinda Scott, any of these lolcow things. The Stuttering John thing right now. Like, Stuttering John's filed like a gajillion fucking motions and a gajillion affidavits. Sometimes these cases, even in just normal course of action, get out of hand. Like, there's all kinds of crazy lawsuits that are going on. Acer Thorn's a great example of shit too. And what time am I logging off? I mean, it's only 11. It's not yet. We're gonna finish up. I thought your streams ended early. We're only at Exhibit C. No, we're on E. We're on Echo. No, I generally go to I started a little late, so 8:30, go into 11. It's not too long. Only 2 hours and 45 minutes. Rose's head game seems okay. I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard shit about her. The Outlier says, finally caught a stream while live. Thanks for responding on Twitter. I thought I was going crazy with that video vanishing in hours. Oh, well, you're welcome. You're welcome. So yeah, this one here, Exhibit E, is kind of garbage. Once again, that doesn't tell me shit. Exhibit F. That is not. This is, and if you guys wanted proof that this is somebody putting shit together, this is somebody copy and pasting into a thing. And if you notice, this isn't even the fucking lines. It's not even matched up with the lines of the cells. So this is all fucking homebrewed. And once again, that leads to credibility and authentication issues. Did Destiny make these exhibits himself? How did he make them? What did he use? What was the original data before he made these exhibits? Remember, this is a composite. This is actually a composite exhibit, technically. This is that shit from Peach, those discussions with Peach. And then this shit that's in the cells up here, the spreadsheet part. This is a composite. This is multiple things put together to make one exhibit. So what were these beforehand? Because, guys, remember, when you change an exhibit, you make a new exhibit. And this is a new exhibit. This is a composite. What does the Peach evidence even show? Well, Peach is... Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like, how do I know this is what went to Peach? Like, we don't. And notice, here's the problem for Destiny. He's got these things. Then where is his part up here? Where is his discussion to her? He's got this ability to, like, so Peach must have, if these are from Peach, okay, or if these are from him, where's the whole conversation? I don't want the snippet. Deviates his composite. Well, because it's clear, even let's say they're not fake. Let's say they're not faked. And the information he put in here is something one of his scraper programs he's using scraped up. And then he just copied and pasted into the spreadsheet. He's now adding multiple things to make a composite exhibit, and I think that's improper. Yeah. This makes it really fucking suff. Print a PDF doesn't do this. Oh, I'm not saying it does. This makes it even sussier. Each one of these, as we've gone through these exhibits, guys, the sussiness has gone like... It's getting sussier. It's getting sussier. Remember, they talk the talk, but when like the bullshit meets the road, this shit does not rate. This ain't rate. This don't rate. Then there's Exhibit G. And I don't know who the fuck this phone number is. We only have the first part. We only have 6 digits of a phone number. What the fuck is this? You know, and we're claiming this is from that guy. We don't know if it's Darius. Like, Darius said this is part of it. I don't know. How the fuck do we know? How the fuck do we know? Yeah, there's a big chain of custody issue. Destiny making all these exhibits. There's chain of custody problems. It's not an impartial third party. He's got an incentive to hide shit. You know, I'm chilling at Destiny's until he left, though, soon, though. You know, are we for, you know, is this Destiny shit? I mean, it kind of looks like it from that picture, but like, also that's, I mean, he uses OBS, so that's why that makes sense. But, what the fuck are these things up top? I don't know what those things are. Why does he have all that equipment? Like, also, he's got a Stream Deck, like, boo. So, but yeah, this is just... Why don't I ever get an opponent as sloppy as this? It's like a complaint stream. Yeah, it is. It is, man. It is. It is. Having somebody like Destiny, like, yes, Pixie is so fortunate that her opponent is so fucking retarded. So I mean, like, yeah, this kind of says some things, but this doesn't tell me everything. I don't know the fuck. Like, that might be the only thing that, like, is a lot easier to authenticate. It's audio stuff. I get it. Those are audio compressors. Why the fuck does he have all that shit? I don't know. I don't get it, but hey. I don't know. Is Pixie Lawyers have enough tech knowledge to even know how to look for these issues? I don't know. I don't know. I'm assuming so. I'm assuming Pixie is helping. Hopefully they do. If they don't, then yeah, that's the problem. If you're dealing with unsavvy tech boomers, Pixie could lose this because they don't know how to explain the shit to the judge. That is always a danger. It's always a danger. And if Pixie's team are smart, they would have somebody help them explain this shit. Because I'm sure they don't know how to do it. I'm sure they don't know how to do it. So. His computer blows too much to do with software. You can always fix bad hardware with good software. And bad software with good hardware. I mean, well, I fucking run just like a basic gaming rig. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't apparently have that problem. If Pixie's lawyers were smart, they'd be on Kiwi Farms. I'm sure they're on there, and I'm sure they're taking a crash course in understanding all the tech. I'm sure they're taking that. Hexy says Destiny is cursed by thinking he's really smart. Well, I mean, to be fair, a lot of us are. A lot of us are cursed by thinking that. I mean, I'm not. I'm a big fucking retard. Like I said, 105 is probably my IQ. It's room temperature for out in Kansas in the middle of July. 105. But yeah, no, he thinks he's way smarter than he is. Yes. I'm a blogger, not a pro streamer, yeah. I'm reminded that I'm retarded every day, yes. Yes. All right, guys, so we're going to catch up some things. Pepsi Man says, I predict Destiny's motion will be denied. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be also. If it's not, he better go out and buy a fucking lottery ticket. Why is Destiny sharing revenge porn with another female? Because he's a gooner. I don't know, because they're fucking weirdos. Everybody in this situation's a fucking loon. These people are not rational. They're crazy. Can you imagine the mountain of shame for having willingly slept with Destiny? I don't know. Like, Nick Fuentes seems to be doing okay. Let's see here. Lucky Limes for 5 Canadian loonies, or 2.5 toonies. Says, can't this date format code be easily disproven by pulling up logs? They're all standardized using ISO 8601. There would be no ambiguity. Sure. But we haven't pulled it up. Like we don't know what Destiny's using because he's just spitting shit out into a spreadsheet. So we don't know how that's all actually being done. And like I said, we don't know like to the standards these scraper programs are. Soul in the Leak for 100 Argentine pesos. God bless Argentina, and may they get through their economic struggles right now and that the Treasury does not have to step in. Sean, don't you think that Florida State needs a new sex offender shuffle? Starring Dustini and his Discord buddies. Yes, that would be funny. Seller says, how do you affirmatively show something didn't happen? Well, that's a separate issue. How do you disprove a negative? Mm-hmm. I agree. Keopathic says, even if she wasn't in Europe, her American device won't suddenly put on a beret and speak with silly accents. Ha ha ha. You know, you mean like Jean-François Garapi? What's this? What is this accent? Or how to change the calendar displays, yes. I'm going to get replaced with an H1B when Vivek takes over. Yeah. Yes. It's just going to be it's going to be the SAR cast. SAR! For 3 hours straight. Oh, okay. Unforced Ego says, why wouldn't Destiny just attach his own logs, which would prove when the transmission occurred? I mean, I don't know, because they probably don't look that good. KLF is saying Cardi B, because it's kind of just, the law is called Cardi. Cardi B said she was insulted. People thought she was pregnant at her trial. Yeah. And then later, like a week later, said, oh, yeah, I'm pregnant. It's like, well, no shit. John Coleman says, I just for $10 just want to give you my appreciation for you teaching this thing critically. Please accept this lurker tax. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate it. And then Nick Kreuzer for 10 subs. Let's go, chat. Big thank you for that support, guys. I appreciate that. Thank you for showing love out there. And guys, if you got a membership, please tell them thank you. And remember, tomorrow night is Wednesday. We will be going live for the members only, hanging out, having fun. Like, okay, remember, though, it's been like 2 weeks since, like, some crazy shit happened. So as long as, like, nothing crazy happens, we will have a members only tomorrow over here on YouTube. Just, like, please, nobody else get killed. Hope you guys understand why we haven't been doing it lately. We need to make up for it. Keep Patrick saying Destiny doesn't seem to have an account password lock on his PC. Per the Denim stuff, she was able to access his computer while he was gone, no password. Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't like my shit. Like, it's me in 2.0. Like, I mean, she already has her Fed people could already hack into this, so I'm not too worried about it. I get what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying. But yes, if I'm just inviting random fucking people over, I would lock my shit down. Especially if I was leaving the house. especially if I was leaving the house. PS2 Chipper is saying, Sean, have you ever thought about the desk bicycle pedal? I've heard of those things, but they all look kind of like chintzy. We could put a rotation counter in paper cycle. Yeah, that would be fun. 2.0 used to have one of those. And she liked it, but she's like, it kind of was like not as robust and not like the Urban Garlic. It's just not as robust as it like probably could be. PS2 Chipper for 5 subs. Thank you guys for that support. Remember, when you do memberships, here's what you're doing to the Grays. You are crushing them. Just absolutely crushing them. Crushing them. And then deviate, we already covered this, but yes, I agree. There's other extrinsic evidence, but we haven't had it introduced yet. And that's a spoiler for later too, I think is a fair way to argue it. Automata for $10 says, wait, did he cite that needing to know a link address means that anyone accessing the link had authorization? Because that's very much not what the word authorization means. I know, but remember, you're dealing with a judge who's a boomer, probably. And they're speaking in very general terms. So that's a problem. Morse Apple says, Judge, it's not true. There's no watermark. You can't prove it's real or I sent it. Yes. COG is involved. Chat, the sector is involved now too. I hope the judge felt destiny to the sun. I wonder who the other 20 YouTubers he's going to bring him down with him. Oh, yeah, I mean, that is kind of interesting when he threatened to do, like, basically the, I'm taking everyone down with me. I really kind of want to know who that list of people is. Or if he was just, like, fucking spurging out at the moment, like he kind of is right now with the whole Charlie Kirk thing. It would be hilarious to watch him just bring down half of the online left. And hopefully it's big people like Hassan, Sam Sneeder. Everybody goes down. I doubt it, though. Sean trying to do that reverse Dunning-Kruger. No. I know I ain't the smartest bear. I know I ain't the smartest bear. Yes, I have an East Sacramento temperature IQ. There you go. How would you think this would look in front of a jury? I mean, it's so far not so good. Not so good. The Discord Explorer is 100% open source. Well, okay, well that's a problem. Who the fuck has done stuff with it? And did he use? It looks like he used different exporters. Because notice, like, he has screenshots of shit, and then he's got fucking stuff, and like, which things did he do? Which retrieval programs did he use for which things? It's not clear. Amaranth is now streaming with only 600 viewers. Well, maybe she could fake another fucking robbery. I have bedroom here. Yeah, well, I was outside fucking working. Zero fucks saying, for people that still don't get it, Sean is asking questions Socratically. If I'm asking a question, what he's saying is there's no evidence or argument given these addresses these issues. Sometimes I'm Ed Sheeran. I'm just thinking out loud, chat. I'm thinking out loud. So will the Destiny CP thingy go anywhere? I mean, remember, he's a lol cow. They dodge bullets all the time. I mean, you'd like to see somebody get held accountable for that, but remember though, it's also investigations take time. If somebody's investigating this, it's not going to move fast. So we'll see. If it's moving at all. All super chats are redeemed. Yes, if the Indians take over. Deviate says, have a great night, bro. Thanks, brah. Breh. Brew. I like brew more, like Blood Diamond. Sup, brew? It's been great seeing you live react to the craziness. Yeah. I try to avoid following along as much because I like to like basically just have a basic idea where we are. Both sides are crazy. Who is lying? I mean, they both probably are lying to an extent. This will be fun. I'm sure Pixie, like I said, Pixie is not without staying here. Let's just thanks for the chat. Well, you guys are welcome. Kayla says, there goes my Wednesday plans. Well, there you are. You should probably have a lock on your PC. Don't be the low-hanging fruit. Well, that's why I got I bought the throwdown piece. You break into my house and I'll kill you and throw the Jimenez down. I'm racist. You're goddamn right I am. The Samson option, yes. Little Jen because Sean meant to say, of course he has a password on his computer. No, that's all saved on like Dropbox, and Dropbox is logged out every time I close it out. So I don't save things like accessible here. Like my email has password. All the other stuff has password. So I don't leave shit laying out in the open. I compartmentalize it to avoid that. Let's see. How many subs for a chaplain stash? None. Well, that's not applicable. Not applicable. El Augusto says, have you seen the Metatron scythe through the bloodthirsty lest is celebrating? He is on a one-man crusade, unapologetically Christian. And I didn't realize that about Metatron. Like, I liked his stuff from before, like years and years ago, but I hadn't really watched him in a while. But yeah, he's fucking, that dude is saddled up and is riding into the fucking culture war and the political war. Like, fucking crazy. He is very based, and I didn't realize that, but I guess it kind of makes sense. The problem is a lot of people in that arena aren't very based. They're very left-leaning. So, but yes, he's been very based, very impressive. Let me see here. The Kinos are the master Dropbox hackers, Sean. You're not safe. Yeah, my password is password. No, my password is just space. My password's enter. Johan for $2 says C. P-Dub says L. And then, yeah. Metatron is unfathomably based. Yes, he is. I've been very appreciative watching it. So. Never autocomplete, never pre-fill, disable all privacy and security options in all software, never predictive search, never use Chrome, get good, be free, love yourself. Yeah, well, yes. The weather's changing and it's almost autism, chat. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, am I going to do a stream on the Tylenol presser and the UN speech? Which UN speech? Where David, well, not the UN speech, but where like David Petraeus and fucking Al Jelani. Like, the funny thing is, David Petraeus and Al Jelani were in Iraq at the same time, and Petraeus was fucking trying to kill Jelani and his boss, Sarkawi. And now fucking Al Jelani, the fucking head of fucking Al Qaeda in fucking Syria, is at the fucking UN and sat down and have a discussion with fucking David Petraeus, the fucking former director of the CIA. You mean that thing? Yeah, really fucking weird, isn't it? Wow. Wow. It's like, it is a hell. We are in the weirdest fucking timeline ever, chat. I am not joking. We are in the weirdest fucking timeline ever. I'm just saying. My password is Foamer. Yeah. Rabbit Stick says, just got here, wanted to say late and gay. Rewinding to the first to see if I'm right. You were, but I was working on something important. 2.0 vouched. Dropbox is like S3, where it's technically all available at all times on the internet to anyone with the ability to roll through all the available hashes. I mean, yes, but there's only so much I could fucking do. Like, there's reasonable, like, it's good and like, it's good enough. Like my malpractice carry of like, hey, if I do this, this, and this, is that okay? And they're like, yep. And I got it in writing. That's what matters. Let's see here. Look at California SB 771 Thursday if you need content. What the hell is that? Hold on here. Is this like all kids have to use dildos or something? Oh, the social media platforms. Okay, yeah, that'll be helpful. Thank you. Yes, I kind of was making sure that was that. Yeah, nothing to see here, boys. Cyber Rat's like, yeah, it's a little fucked. You mean I think my blood turned cold for a second? Yeah, you seem perturbed just a little bit, just a little bit at that. And then like, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, like, this is fucking trippy. Mohammed al-Jalani, the head of fucking Al-Qaeda in Syria, which later became ISIS, and now he led HTS, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. HTS, the guys who fucking toppled the Assad regime and are fucking murdering all the Alawites and everybody there. Like, this is fucking weird, man. Yeah. Here you go. Here you go. Here's the picture, chat. Here's a picture. Here you go. Just fucking, you want to see some weird shit. You see some, look at these two guys. Look at these two fucking guys. Just having a fucking joke at a smoke. Just look at that. Director of the CIA in this corner. And the head of fucking ISIS. Well, not the head of ISIS, but one of the leaders of ISIS and a former Al-Qaeda leader. This guy had a $20 million bounty on his head up until this year. If you could kill al-Jalani, you could make $20 million.
كان عندكم
نعم بالتأكيد
تتركوا العراق خياراتنا محدودة. أكيد سوريا تعرضت إلى.
I mean, I will say I do like his fucking tie. That tie is fire. I like that tie. I don't like the big tie knots, but like that tie fucking pattern, that's slick.
يعني هدم كبير خلال السنوات الماضية ونحن نركز على التنمية الاقتصادية. أكيد مهمتي في.
These two guys 20 years ago were trying to fucking kill each other. My passwords are all choo-choo. Shh. You know the history of Ali Mohammed and the other shit the CIA let him do, and you're shocked about the UN? I'm just, yeah, I understand. I'm just saying. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah. So, we need to start over, Sean, yeah. So, let me see here. Yes, Elon Musk is correct. The most entertaining outcome is the most likely outcome. Yeah, sadly. When you understand Al-Qaeda is a bunch of clowns, it makes sense. Yes, clowns who were very successful at chopping people's fucking heads off. Oh, the guy couldn't even pronounce acetaminophen. Have you looked at Preston Poulter's motions against EVS at all? He's not fulfilling a settlement, apparently. I don't know anything about it, Jim. If you want to send me a link to the stuff, I'll take a look at it. But like, the only thing I know about Confiscate is Eric July's blown the fucking doors off everybody, which, everybody liked to make fun of Eric, but he's got 15 million fucking reasons why he's, there's 15 million fucking reasons why their arguments suck. So I mean that's all I know. Just saying. Assad should have never been removed. I don't think so. That was a bad fucking idea. Let's destabilize Syria even more. Yay! Any chance you're going to cover the David case when he gets indicted? Yeah. Yeah, that's looking bad here. That's looking bad here. The guys who toppled Assad and they got really friendly with Israel for some reason. Although that's the thing, Israel was very supportive of the Syrian fighters for a long time. Even the ISIS guys and like the moderate jihadist elements who would still chop your head off and just be with a sharper machete. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, like the jihadist elements in Syria. It's all about, are they going to saw your head off with a dull machete, or will they give you the pleasure of getting your head cut clean off right away? That was really the difference. Israel gave a lot of those guys, they would let them come across, like, in the border regions, giving them aid, medical care, and, turning them back into the fight to go fuck with the Syrians. So Israel had a vested interest in keeping the fight go on for a while. What the bullshit the Ukrainians did by coming down into Syria and giving the Syrians, or giving the HTS guys, a bunch of fucking FPV drones and training on how to use them, they basically toppled the government and destabilized it with the Ukrainian help, which is like, our fucking tax money went to Ukraine, which then went to Syria. And it's like, that's really what I fucking want. So, boat guy, you cannot build your own tower. That's not how we do it. That's like self-glossing. It's not cool. You got to do it. Got to work together. It's community to build a tower. Let's see here. Is it Fed posting if there's a Fed on stage? And that's a good point. What happened to Bashar? He fled to Russia. Teraba says we need a Gladio for the Mooj. Basically, if you're dealing with the Mooj, like, you're basically making your own Mooj, which doesn't turn out well. And the Arabs are their own people. We can't fuck with that like that. Fenris saying he had zero chance of killing Petraeus. I understand, but their goal, like, these guys, like, actually, they weren't literally trying to kill each other. Okay, yes, Petraeus is trying. I'm sure that guy was on Petraeus's, like, kill list. But, like, these guys were fighting each other. They were commanders fighting each other. The CIA told him to let us hire you. Oh. Did I see the UN state, Palestinian state was a human right? Well, left out that he and Arafat have been buddies since they were in their 20s or 30s. No, but fuck the UN when it comes to this shit. Let me see here. Sure is weird how they're friendly with those guys. Yeah. Another says careful. I'm just telling the truth, man. Just telling the truth. Israel gives everyone medical care. They do. But there is an incentive to give the Islamist fighters that were fighting the Assad government medical care and support, because then they could continue the fight against the Assad regime. And Israel, having the Assad regime in a state where it couldn't fucking cause problems in the north of Israel, is perfect, because a partially destabilized Syria just means that, Hezbollah isn't able to fight along the northern border. Neither is Syria. And it just kind of limits things. And if Syria is destabilized and too busy fighting in itself, it can't influence shit in Lebanon, which it does a lot. So there's a lot of reasons why just keeping Assad occupied was good for the Israelis. So if you were more friendly to Ukraine, you might have got some nice auto weapons on the market. That's fine. I'll suffer. I'm fine with losing out on that. Like I said, they can do their own thing. They can do their own thing. You guys are going way too fast here. You get to see my boys, the Deftones in Kentucky. They put on a good show. I mean, I like the Deftones. They're not like my band, but yeah, they're pretty cool. Jeff D says it's not just Syria. Ukraine has been hitting Russian assets across Africa, being Joan and proxy militias. It just gets no coverage. Yeah, the Ukrainians and the Russians have been fighting like a shadow war down in Central Africa. Yeah, and it's like in Syria. I mean, not Syria, but Sudan. There have been some, attacks by the Ukrainian intelligence service doing stuff. But it's funny because all that fucking failed. The West gave up like on West Africa and Central Africa. ECOWAS has collapsed. And like Burkina Faso, Niger, and Chad are all basically falling in the Russian and Chinese orbit. Like it's not fucking working out too well. Not working out too well. Another says I'd make a great history teacher. You'd like to think so, but I'm not sure if I would. The next star will never preempt Jimmy Kimmel with the Sean Show if you keep talking about them. Oh, Pyrometer says I meant the U.S. weapons your taxpayers donated. Well, yeah, there you go. Fun fact: Smoke and Scan used to tour at the Deftones. Cool. Can you imagine what will happen if they manage to topple Putin? No, and that terrifies me that we would like want to openly destabilize a nuclear armed country like that. That's like saying, hey, let's fucking topple Pakistan. That's a bad fucking idea. I don't like them, but do I really want to deal with fucking loose nukes in the world? No, and I wouldn't want to fucking topple Russia either at this point. That's not going to end well. And for all the ethnic minorities in Russia, holy shit, it's going to get bad. So, like, you think it's bad now, wait till all those people get fucking exterminated. Yeah. So, let's see here. Would the Middle East actually have been better if the global powers went to old school colonialism on the region? I mean, maybe. But I mean, they're just a different people, man. They operate like democracy ain't a thing for them is kind of what we learned. So maybe. So it'll be Yugoslavia times 100. Yeah. China would make a move. Sure, they would. I could see Japan saying, oh, we'd like some of the Kuril Islands back. And we've got all these nice helicopter carriers full of F-35s. Like, I can see that happening, too. There's a lot of irredentism on Russian clay. A lot. So. Anyways, chat, we're going to wrap it up. It's been 3 hours. Enough of the talking here. So, yeah, like I said, guys, this is not going to go well. And, sorry about that. I had the button on this fucking mouse. I have these side buttons. I'm not paying attention. I pull a dark side field and go, oh, my finger just brushed against it. This is not going to go well. Yeah, well, it is. So, with that said, chat, I will see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy yourselves until then. And just remember, until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Does not mean you're guilty. And, yeah, we'll see what happens here. Yeah. Is Josh my producer now? No. There's no DSP tonight. Wow. Comcast took him out early. All right, chat. Well, you guys have a great night. And Steam Deck won't change the mice. You have to remap the mouse. I'm going to have to... you know what? Maybe I can just maybe I can remap these so they don't fucking do anything. So I'll work on that. That's actually a good idea. Oh, I'm saying don't be DSP. Well, I'm not. There's like I said, I'll paint the wall with my skull before that happens. So good night, chat. And take care. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Where's the button? There it is.
Weapons black, blacksmithing and models of planes, esoteric works and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rick Hayden yelled at? Why, yes it was.